Welcome to the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals presented by Capital One. Capacity crowd at Plainsman Park in Auburn, Alabama. We're looking for another record tonight, and for good reason. We've got an old-fashioned SEC power showdown. Ole Miss and Auburn. It is power at the plate versus power on the mound. Ole Miss swept through the Lincoln Regional last weekend. Auburn had to do some heavy lifting to get out of its regional after dropping Game 1. And with that, we take a look at the bracket. A couple blowout winners today, including West Virginia. An hour and a half away from here, Troy takes care of Little Rock. USC came from behind to take down North Carolina in Chapel Hill. And we are in Game 1 in a best-of-3. Welcome, everybody. Tom Hart alongside College Baseball Hall of Famer Todd Walker. You've played in this tournament. You know what it's like to play in Omaha. What's going through these players' minds right now?
These are special moments. I remember getting the last out hit to me in Baton Rouge in 1993 and throwing it over to first and thinking, my life's going to change forever. I'm going to get to play in Omaha for the first time. And it did. I mean, these are memories that these kids will remember forever.
And these two teams, 2 wins and just 1,000 miles away from Omaha in that dream. When we get a couple of superstars. Chase Fralick has a 5-game home run streak going. He's the Auburn star behind the plate.
Wow, is he special. There can't be a hotter hitter in the country than Chase Fralick. Just incredible. 9 hits and 6 home runs last week in the regional in 5 games. 20 home runs, that's a record for a catcher here at Auburn. It's only his second year. He calls his own pitches. He's the first Buster Posey Award finalist at Auburn. He was a world-class tennis player growing up. Athlete behind the plate. This guy can really go. He's the one you circle in the lineup that you can't let beat you.
He has more home runs than half of the 64-team field already, and still a super regional to come. On the other side, the Ole Miss career home run leader, got a lot of pop in his bat, Judd Utermark.
50 career home runs for Judd Utermark, holding down the third base position. He's built like a linebacker, 6'5", 250 pounds, 21 home runs this year. He's only one of 2 hitters in this lineup that are hitting 300, and only one of 2 that have 20-plus home runs. He's hitting out of the 2 spot today. Watch Judd Utermark.
2 teams going head-to-head for the first time this season. 2 wins in 1,025 miles away from Omaha. It is a picture-perfect day for baseball in the loveliest village on the plains. Judd Udemark hitting in the 2-hole for Ole Miss. This is a rebel team, Todd, that was back half of the SEC in average, but 20th in the nation in home runs.
Yeah, and this got Judd Udemark 2 for 13 in the regional last week with a double and a home run. But you know what that means.
I'd say he's due.
He's due. That's why they call it an average.
They're facing Andreas Alvarez for Auburn, an Auburn squad that's 6th in the country in ERA, and the sophomore right-hander from Seminole, Florida. Don't let the stature fool you. He can bring gas.
Both. 9 starts last year as a freshman. It's hard to do getting innings as a freshman. This is his 16th start. He's got 10 wins, 100 strikeouts. Into the 5th, and all 15 starts except for one. 97 on the 4-seam, 3 looks at breakers, cutter, slider, curveball. Change to left-handers. He can throw any pitch in any count.
Leadoff man for Ole Miss is Dom Decker, and Decker looks with a pair of strikes, 0-2, and a mid-90s fastball. Decker played in the College World Series last year for Murray State. His team had to go through Oxford to do it, and so this Ole Miss coaching staff got a first-hand look at how good he is. But he goes down on 3 straight, and Alvarez starts it off with a K.
You got to love attacking the zone right out of the gates. This Auburn pitching staff, best in the country strikeout to walk ratio, which means they're powerful but also accurate. And these hitters, even though they know what's coming, still difficult to hit. You saw right there, Dom Decker goes down quick.
So 1 down, and now he's got to face the power in this Ole Miss lineup. Judd Udemark, you mentioned he had a slow series last week as Ole Miss needed only 3 games to get through the Lincoln Regional, though they did play some extra innings and have to deal with some weather. 21 home runs are 7th most in the SEC, but he has struck out 77 times this year. And the first pitch in on his thigh is 1-0.
We talked about Chase Fralick on the other side, 6 home runs in 5 games. Judd Udemark last year in the Oxford Regional, 6 home runs in 5 games, a lot of power.
Big cut and a miss in the count 1-1 as Alvarez seems a little dialed up with that fastball so far.
Yeah, and you got to love attacking the zone with the fastball. And they're swinging through it. So now, you know, if you're Alvarez, you know you can get away with it.
Udemark's about 100 points higher against lefties and righties, and he chases the breaking ball. If there's any question about Udemark's power and if the school record isn't enough for you, 9 of his 21 home runs have gone over 400 feet. And that's the story with this Ole Miss team when it comes to the long ball. He didn't go. According to David Savage on the first baseline, John Brammer has the plate tonight.
And that's difficult in these games. Your emotions high as a hitter. You've seen check swings from Udemark last two pitches, and it's just tough to stay back early in these games. That's why I always thought the off-speed works.
Here's the 2-2, and that's outside. Judd Udemark, a big dude, 6'5", 250, senior out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Surpassed Tim Elko on his way to the career home run record. Elko's got a statue there after winning a national championship in 22. Hit 46 in his Rebel career.
And that's who he reminds me of. And I asked Mike Bianco about that, and he said they were similar in that the stature, of course, 6'5", big dudes, can hit home runs. Judd Udemark can run. Tim Elko had some knee issues, but they are loved in the clubhouse. He said they're both leaders. You know, everybody loves them, and what a guy to compare yourself to. That Kyle Gordon record was 39 years old, 48 home runs before Judd Udemark passed him up this year.
By the way, that'd be Dr. Kyle Gordon to you. He's now an ENT in Jackson, Mississippi, and he was a .343 career hitter. He got Mississippi State All-American Bobby Thigpen for one of his big home runs. Payoff to Udemark just underway at Auburn, and a swing and a miss for back-to-back Ks for Alvarez.
That's just silly. 3-2, nobody on, you're expecting a fastball, and that's what you sell out to, 95%. You still got in the back of your head that Alvarez can throw any pitch in any count, and he drops a slider on him right there. Judd Udemark with that massive swing. 2 strikeouts in a row for Andres Alvarez.
So it brings Will Furness to the plate. Furness has a 28-game on-base streak going. And first pitch fastball's in there for a strike. Senior 6'4", 240. 6 of his 7 home runs have come against SEC arms this season. Breaking ball just missed.
He's such a big guy. He was one of the ones standing behind the cage when you and I were watching BP. They look like a football team.
They do. They got some wide bodies on this Ole Miss roster. You saw the curveball already. He'll throw more curveballs against lefties and righties over the course of the season. And we'll mix in the slider more to right-handers when it comes to the breaking ball.
Ole Miss has 6 left-handed hitters in this lineup. Alvarez versus lefties, right up under 300. He's better against the right-hand hitters at 193.
And there's another curveball up and away, 3-1. What do we expect for game 1 here? Low scoring, or could the ball start flying?
Both these teams can swing and miss, so it feels like a high strikeout game, especially tonight. The ball travels here. 26 home runs in the regional last week alone. 16 hit by Auburn, which was also a program record.
We saw a record number of home runs hit in the first weekend of NCAA tournament play. And now to your point about the high strikeout totals, Alvarez a pitch away from paying the side. And now the 3-2 to Furness. Got him looking at 96. Early crowd involvement at Auburn. NCAA Baseball Super Regionals are presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? And in part by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. No score as we head to the home half of the first inning. Here's a look at the batting order for the Auburn Tigers, led by Chase Fralick, who's got 2 5-game home run hitting streaks over the course of this season. He's on his second now, and he showed the long ball last week with 6 home runs and 15 driven in.
That great player, only his second year in college. Pretty incredible what Chase Fralick has accomplished already. What I love is Butch Thompson trusts him enough to call his own pitches, and the pitchers love it too. Talks a lot about conviction and ownership and awareness. That's what this program does, and Chase Fralick on top of that.
And here's Hunter Elliott, who's the lone remaining player from Ole Miss's lone national championship team. The 6'3" lefty from Tupelo, Mississippi, is making his 16th start this season. And these numbers are what they are. But third in program history in strikeouts. And Todd, he does not lose, or at least to this point has not lost in the postseason.
Ole Miss has not lost a postseason game in which Hunter Elliott has started. He's had 6 starts in his 5 years with the program, 42 2/3 postseason innings. From Tupelo, like you mentioned, he's going to need an Elvis-like performance tonight. Regional last week versus Arizona State, went 5, gave up 4 earnings, low 90s fastball, slider change. The change is his out pitch, swing and miss about 50% of the time.
He'll start with Mason McCrane. McCrane is normally in right field for Auburn, but he's a little bit under the weather and is DHing, so they shuffled some guys around at the bottom of the order to fill out the outfield. And the first pitch to the 6'6" DH misses upstairs. McCrane from Salem, Alabama, out of Glenwood High School. His brother Brandon is the shortstop on this team. He hits in the 7-hole. Little chin music. Auburn more efficient offensively than Ole Miss over the course of the season. A .297 team average, top 3rd in the SEC. But most of their power came late after a slow start to the season with the bats. And the 2-0 to McCrane. In for a strike from Elliott.
Well, they were shuffling bats around. I mean, they have Chris Rembert in the leadoff spot. Bristol Carter has been in this spot. But Gabe Gross likes Mason McCrane there because he sees more pitches than anybody else in this lineup tonight. And, of course, got a lot of thunder up top.
Takes it for a strike, 2-2. Butch Thompson is 11th season as the Auburn head coach. He's been part of a staff that's made it to Omaha 9 times, including a couple of times with this Auburn team. He's got 5 regional championships. He labeled last week the toughest yet the most rewarding after they lost game 1 and had to come through the losers bracket. First time Auburn has done that, at least under Butch Thompson. Here's the payoff. And right down College for strike.
How about that? 4 hitters of the game on both sides, 4 strikeouts. Mason McCrane on a full count, giving Eric Guevara all the information. He spit on the 2-2 pitch low and in, and so you start to get a little complacent as a hitter, thinking you're going to get dropped another off speed, and he just blows the fastball right down Broadway.
Here's a look at what he uses. Fastball, 4-seamer 42% of the time. He's fastball change, and his change is swung on and missed more than any other changeup in the SEC. And we're talking with the Auburn coaches about it. He does a fantastic job tunneling the 4-seamer with the changeup. And with the drop on the changeup, you're right over the top most times.
And the way that works is the arm action is the same. So it looks like the fastball, but it's 10 to 15 miles an hour slower. And when they do that as a hitter, you're looking out there thinking fastball, and you just wave right through it like you see right there.
And it's not that he's throwing a lot of changeups out of the zone.
Yeah, but you can throw it right down the middle if the hitter thinks it's a fastball.
Sure. 13 home runs for Guevara. Guevara homer during the regional for Auburn. One of his 3 hits in 16 at-bats. An uneven performance overall for the Auburn program, but a gutty finish to the whole thing. And Butch Thompson did that by turning to the bullpen to get a lot of help, and they minimized who came out of the pen to throw. Guevara Jr. from Panama City, Panama. And Elliott is off the mark with his changeups, 2-2.
328 in SEC play for Eric Guevara. That's pretty special. Had a rough regional last week, only 3 for 16. He did have the 7 walks, so he did get on base. He's an all-defensive third baseman in the SEC.
And he goes down swinging, 5 batters, 5 Ks.
What did we say this game would look like?
Modern baseball.
A lot of strikeouts. It feels like at some point of the game there's going to be some runners on. There will be traffic, and somebody hits a 3-run homer. But in between that, a lot of swing and misses. How about this changeup just moving away from the barrel of the bat? If you're Guevara, you think it's an outside corner fastball, and you go after it. Whoops.
And so here's Chase Fralick, sophomore from Peachtree City, Georgia, regional most outstanding player. At 409 with 6 home runs and 15 ribbies. More home runs than 35 teams in the field. And he puts one in play for the first time. We'll have something besides a strikeout as Udemark squeezes it. 13-pitch inning with a couple of Ks for Hunter Elliott. We are underway. Nothing decided after 1 inning. Well, half of the Super Regionals get started today. The other half will start tomorrow. Everybody's playing a best-of-3 with Omaha on the line. The Mountaineers wasted no time keeping it rolling today. Pat McAfee had a front-row seat. Fourth game with double-digit runs in the NCAA tournament for the Ears. And USC trailed 5-1 after the fifth. Came back to knock off North Carolina. And just an hour and a half away from here, Troy took down Little Rock 12-2.
Most famous baseball player from Cal Poly, Ozzie Smith.
Wow.
Walked on the team and walked out an All-American. How about that?
That's pretty good. Told you about Ole Miss's power, 20th in the country with 103 home runs. Tristan Becerra is their leading home run hitter with 22, and he leads this game off. Senior from Greenville, South Carolina, transferred in from Clemson. Now, Becerra is playing a new position tonight. Mike Bianco started Becerra in left field instead of right. And the reason he did that is because as this ballpark is tilted a little bit different than most, the sun sets in the left fielder's eyes. And so now the left fielder and left field wall are in the shadows, but you can see what a challenge that would be when this game started. And Bianco was telling us that he'll likely flip him back over to right field as soon as the shadows take over left.
Yeah, Becerra, the transfer from Clemson, 10 home runs last year. Got 22 this year, can change the game with one swing. He does got a lot of swing and miss. Over 30% of his plate appearances end up in a strikeout.
Yeah, team high 82 Ks for Becerra. And Alvarez fighting his way back into the at-bat. And a 95-mile-an-hour fastball at the knees. Third full count, 4 batters for Auburn starter Andreas Alvarez.
(3-1) fastball at 96, 3-2 fastball at 96 from Alvarez. And if you're a hitter for Ole Miss, you're still got in the back of your mind that he may drop an off speed on you, and that's what gets him off the fastball right there.
And Becerra catches another stitch to stay alive.
And there it is. And that's pretty good by Becerra, who now is more convicted on the fastball. Gets the slider on the outside corner. That was a nice pitch and able to just get a piece of it.
8th pitch of the at-bat coming between Alvarez and Becerra. Tristan Becerra, 6'1", 225. He's more than doubled his home run total from 3 seasons at Clemson. And he rockets one up the middle. Chris Rembert's got it. And there's one down. The latest news, insight, and in-depth analysis from the Supers, visit ncaa.com.
Well, it looks like Brandon McCain is just going to stay on the right side of the bag. They had Tristan Becerra in the shift, and now Hayden Frederico, the high school quarterback out of West Monroe.
Federico had a monster regional, went 7 for 14. And if you include the brief stay at the SEC tournament, his OPS in the postseason is 1229.
Pretty good.
You mentioned his time at West Monroe High School, 3-time first-team All-State. They played in the state championship time 4 times. He won it twice.
Yeah, it's right down the road from where I live in Shreveport, so you know all about West Monroe baseball and West Monroe football. Dad Michael used to coach at ULM there in Monroe, now at Louisiana Tech, so it's a baseball family.
And he gets hit in the foot, and Federico becomes the first base runner of the game for Ole Miss. Mike Bianco knows what it's like to play in Omaha, and he knows what it's like to coach in Omaha. 26th season as Ole Miss's head coach, 9th time in the Supers. Ole Miss has not had much luck in the Supers, just 2-8 all time when they were 2 wins away from Omaha.
There was one special one in 2022 when they won the Super, got to Omaha and won the whole thing. Mike Bianco, a national championship coach.
Owen Payno looks at the first upstairs. 6'3", 225, sophomore from Poughkeepsie, New York. He's one of the top 10 freshmen to arrive on campus. Coming out of Roy C. Ketchum High School, where he was the New York Gatorade Player of the Year and won 3 New York State titles. And his defense in the Lincoln Regional was scintillating at shortstop. Little poke on the changeup will stay foul where it's kicked away by Guevara.
Yeah, well, the defense kept him in it. Last week, 1 for 13 with 3 RBIs. Did hit the double, a big double. 7 strikeouts in those 13 at-bats for Owen Pano. But, yeah, he can go on the left side of the infield.
He's a great example of a youngster who stuck with it despite some early struggles, at least defensively. Last year, he was a starting shortstop as a freshman to begin the season. Had some fielding issues. Tried to bounce back and had to build his confidence back up. And here he is starting shortstop on the team that's a stone's throw from the College World Series. And he sends it to left field. Pano comes up with another clutch hit. And Ole Miss has a pair aboard with only 1 out.
That's the result of selling out to the off speed. And when we talk about being quick with the barrel, it doesn't necessarily mean pull. It just means I'm going to sit off speed, but be quick enough if he tries to sneak the fastball in there. And Alvarez at 95, middle in. Owen Pano quick enough just to get enough of it. Gets jammed a little bit, but to the left side and gets the base hit.
And an early opportunity for Ole Miss here after the Rebels went down in order via 3 strikeouts in the first. And this is junior catcher Austin Fawley. Fawley's on a power surge. He's got 9 home runs over his last 17 games after just 4 in his first 36. Double-digit home runs against SEC pitching for the 2nd straight year for Fawley. And man, that was a healthy cut at 95.
Yeah, and you got to back pitch him. So at 0-1, he's looking off speed, blow the fastball in there. If he guesses right, it can go a long way, but he has a hard time adjusting to something he's not looking for.
He did walk 5 times in Lincoln, only 24 walks all season, but he goes down looking. 3 straight from Alvarez. 2 down, and Ole Miss in danger of losing this opportunity.
Great sequence by Andres Alvarez. Pumps the fastball in there, 0-1, and now you got to at least respect it. If you're Austin Fawley, you don't want to miss your chance to hit a 3-run homer, and he just drops the curveball in there for strike 3. The loads there, just couldn't pull the trigger.
Talked about the Ole Miss outfield shuffle with Becerra playing left. Well, Braden Randall is even a bigger shuffle. He's playing the outfield for the first time, he said, since probably at 14 years old when he was playing travel ball. Shortstop by trade. He was a starting shortstop at the beginning of the season. 0-2.
He's an athlete. He's been around. He's had 93 starts at Ole Miss coming into this year. Got a 4-game heater, 6 for 14. Against Georgia back in late April. Hit 2 doubles and a home run. Big game there. So he can swing the bat, and that's why he's in the lineup.
Curveball hit to the right side and through. Federico being waved home from third. The throw is late. And it's an RBI single for Braden Randall. And something to keep in mind, Todd, with the illness to Mason McCrane, who's usually in right field with a plus arm. They may have had a play at the plate if McCrane's out there.
Yeah, Mason McCrane, 6'6" out in right field. Two-way player like you mentioned. He can get mid-90s on the mound, so he's got a big arm. This ball finds a hole on the right side, a hanging curveball. Braden Randall now extends his hit streak to 5 games through the hole. And, yeah, just not enough on that throw to get the run. First run across for the Rebs.
So now the 9-hole hitter, Colin Reuter, who's DHing tonight for Ole Miss. Rebels trailed in every game at Lincoln in a 3-game sweep. And they score for the first time in this postseason. Reuter sends a breaking ball to right at Cade Ballou. Rebels scratch one across with a hit by pitch and a pair of singles. It's 1-0 Ole Miss. Here's a look at Ole Miss's road to the Supers. They were the 2 seed in Lincoln, and they breezed through as, well, much as you can say, a pair of extra inning wins. 2 walk-off extra inning wins. They had a late one against Arizona State to get things started. Game that ended about 1:30 in the morning. The pitching was good. The bullpen was sensational. Only 4 earned over 17 innings.
Mike Bianco, one of 17 active coaches with 1,000 wins, 146 Major League draft picks. Like we mentioned before, 2022 National Championship. He's been there 26 years. Most tenured coach in the SEC. It's a long time.
Here's Chris Rembert to lead off the second. This is a very talented team for Auburn, number 4 national seed, but they're also relatively young by class. Chris Rembert, representative of that. He's been at second base just about every game this season for the Tigers. He's a sophomore. And he's carrying a 17-game hit streak into this at-bat for the sophomore out of Pensacola Catholic in Florida.
Yeah, Chris Rembert, draft-eligible sophomore. He'll be available early or get picked earlier in this one. 10 home runs last year, only 4 this year, but man, has he been swinging about well lately. 17-game hit streak.
Upstairs from Elliott, 2 balls and a strike. And that 17-game streak, he's hitting .394. One of 7 children, his brother Brandon played baseball at Alcorn State. He was rated the number 4 shortstop in Florida coming out of high school and set a school record in home runs at Pensacola Catholic. And the 3-1 to Rembert. Missed with the fastball high, and it's a leadoff walk. So if Rembert's not the hottest hitter with a 17-game streak, then it's Bingaman, who's got a more modest 7-game hit streak. But over the regional, homered 4 times and hit a pair of doubles. Freshman from Redlands, California, out of Corona High School. And he sends this one high to right field. They flip fielders. It's Becerra back there now, and up on the warning track, he makes the catch.
Gives it a ride all the way deep to right. He told us the story about his 3-homer game back against Oklahoma on April the 26th. His first 5 home runs have been on the road, and hit the first home run with his family in the ballpark. They left to go to the airport. Hits his 2nd home run, looks around, nobody's there. And then hits his 3rd while they're at the airport calling in. but Ethan Bingaman, a lot of pop, only a freshman.
And they'll keep a close eye on Rembert, who's got 12 stolen bases on the season. And the streaky Bub Terrell at the plate. Just 2 for 21 in the regional with 10 strikeouts. But when he gets a hold of one, he can send it. He said, that nicked my helmet. John Brammer's not buying it.
Yeah, it's always impressive to me by umpires. They go off the sound. And it definitely didn't get anywhere near his helmet. Good try by Bub Terrell. Maybe he's just saying I'm thinking through it.
Yeah,
I'm thinking through it.
Maybe we need to work on our pantomiming. Terrell chops it to the left side. Here comes Utermark. Tough play. Got stuck in his glove, and everybody's safe.
That's just a tough play by Judd Utermark. He's got a big arm, but the double pump cost him. And as an infielder, a lot of times you're worried more about the runner than actually catching the ball. Watch Judd Utermark's eyes. He stays down on it pretty good. Just couldn't get a handle on it. And then you can't get the four seam on the throw. You end up palming it in your hand, and that's what happened. Threw it in the ground. Nice pick by Furness at first base, but not enough.
And here's Brandon McCrane. 327 average and a home run from McCrane. Second-year freshman from Salem, Alabama. Already seen his brother Mason, who led off the game. And Austin Foley's going to head to the mound and have a word with Hunter Elliott. We've got 2 big-time catchers in this game. We know what Fraley can do offensively, and Foley is number 2 in the country in framing runs saved, behind only Ryder Helfrich at Arkansas, who will likely be a top 10 pick in this summer's draft.
Well, Mike Bianco talked to us about the catching position at Ole Miss. He said it's hard to catch here because Mike Bianco was a catcher. Mike Clement was a catcher. Carl Lafferty also a catcher. So they put those guys through the grind. Austin Foley, he said, one of the best. Only catcher in the Bianco era to hit 21 home runs at that position.
There's Fralick. That offering misses inside, and Foley's telling him we got it. It's okay. Brandon was the bigger of the McCrane brothers for a long time, and Mason said, well, once I hit puberty kind of late, I woke up and simply I was just taller than him. Shot past his older brother at age 16. 4-pitch walk loads the bases for Auburn here in the second. And the Tigers with an opportunity to answer.
They're going to try to answer with Cade Ballou. They're going to get a mound visit by Joel Mangrum. Cade Ballou's played sporadically during the year in the regional. He went off 6 for 16 with 3 home runs out of the 8 spot. Lefty on lefty matchup here, but Ole Miss has a real opportunity early in this game. Or Auburn, sorry. Ole Miss has an opportunity too.
It's an Ole Miss an Ole Miss defense. Middle of the pack in the SEC in fielding percentage, and 13th out of 16 teams in double plays turned. They've only turned 30 of them this year. Here's Cade Ballou. 6 hits last weekend here at Plainsman Park. 3 of them left the yard. Auburn had the bases loaded 3 times last weekend, went 0 for 3. Got him jammed. Decker shuffles to Pano onto first. Got him! And a 4-6-3 double play turned by this Ole Miss infield and got him by a half a step.
That was the opportunity for Ole Miss, and they got it done. They jammed Cade Ballou, but are able to turn the double play anyway. Cade Ballou can run. What a transfer from Decker to Pano. Watch this again. Just the attack and the quick flip. Pano with the strong arm across the Rebs on the field.
Auburn here at home last weekend. They dropped the opening round game against Milwaukee 13-8. Then they went yard 5 times in an elimination game against NC State, ending Elliott Avent's career. That game ended on a pitch clock violation. And they put it together against UCF and Milwaukee in their last 3 games. 16 home runs in the regional for Auburn last weekend.
Yeah, the first 2 games in that regional for Auburn were outliers. The last 3, 1 earned run by the bullpen in the last 13. They only used 3 guys. L.J. Cormier, Jackson Sanders, and Ryan Hetzler, who finished 1 game and started the next game an hour later. Pretty impressive story.
Here's the Ole Miss leadoff man, Dom Decker, after a missed opportunity for the Tigers in the bottom of the 2nd. Outs into a double play to leave the bases loaded. And Decker rips one to right field. Leadoff man on for Judd Utermark. What are you thinking as a hitter when you're facing a starting pitcher for the 2nd time?
That's why I always loved taking a lot of pitches the first time, because I always felt like the more you face a pitcher, the more it becomes a hitter's advantage, because you got the tempo, you got the timing, the release point, you know the situation and what he's going to throw in each. That was a hanging changeup, so I don't know if you need to see a lot to get that for Dom Decker, but again, your 2nd time around, you should be set up for the rest of the game based on your first at bat.
Utermark chases one out of the zone, 0-1. And another, same pitch, same result.
When you're expected to be the superstar, it's very difficult to stay back. I talked about this early in the game. In these high emotional type situations as a hitter, everything leaks forward on off speed. You can hit a fastball if you know it's coming, but everything else, you're going to be out in front, and that's what it looks like Judd Utermark's doing right now.
Andreas Alvarez, over the course of the season, is actually better 2nd time through the order than he is the 1st. Batting average drops by over 100 points. And got the inside corner with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
That's just great location by Andres Alvarez. 5 strikeouts tonight, and he's just in and out, mixing in the off speed and hitters counts, and that one is tough to pull the trigger on. When you're looking off speed out over the plate, he buries a 95 inside on you. It just eats up Judd Udemark, who can't believe he let that go by.
Well, he's got a fantastic game caller behind the plate in Chase Fralick. And the first pitch breaking ball into Will Furniss. You mentioned that Fralick is a former tennis star. And I was talking to him earlier this season about when he learned really to study the game and be able to become such an efficient pitch caller. And he said it wasn't until I gave up tennis and I put all of my focus into baseball, not just hitting and not just catching, but learning how to call a game.
Yeah, I mean, his parents were college tennis players. He was top 3 in the country growing up, so he was special. And that left-handed swing mimics a backhand if you're a right-handed hitter in tennis, but it's basically creating top spin if you're a tennis player into backspin if you're a baseball player, and that's what he had to learn to get over.
Fralick was actually turned on to this Auburn staff by the Auburn tennis coach. Called up Butch Thompson one day and said, I shouldn't tell you this, but there's this kid up the street up in Peachtree City, Georgia, who I would love to play tennis here, but his future is probably baseball.
A man after my own heart. I was a baseball player that ended up trying to play tennis at a much lower level.
How'd that work out for you?
It took me about 10 years to learn the backhand because I was a left-handed hitter also, and then I was trying to create top spin with all your weight shifted onto your front leg in tennis.
You'd be better playing home run derby with a tennis racket.
I did that for the first 5 or 6 years trying to learn.
2-1 to Furniss now with a runner aboard. And that one's outside. 3 balls and a strike to the Ole Miss first baseman, who's got his own family history with this game. Like my partner Todd Walker, Will's dad Eddie's a member of the College Baseball Hall of Fame.
Built like him too. Eddie was a pitch taker, took a lot of pitches, a lot of walks, 85 home runs or something in his 4 years at LSU career. And this swing looks a lot like his dad's.
Will had a good postseason last year in the Oxford Regional, but can't find 95. Just the location with the fastball.
I was just going to say that's another great location. When the hitter knows a fastball's coming, if you can put it in that spot, it's going to be hard to make contact. And if Will made contact there, it was going to be off the end of the bat. So great location spot for Andres Alvarez.
Will Furniss in his 4th year as a starter with this program. As a freshman, he split time between DH and first base. Another throw over. Decker's got 13 bags on the year. They don't run on Fralick much, only 31 attempts against the Auburn catcher. And there he goes, late jump, and it's slice foul.
As a hitter, you're looking 3-2 fastball, dead red. Nice job by Will Furniss just to foul off that off speed, just a half swing. Knew he was fooled, but able to get a piece of it.
There goes the runner again, and it's pulled to the right side. Rembert gathers. And that'll close the visiting half of the 3rd. Or pardon me, 2 down. Just really wanted to get the commercial break in. And so I bet Andres Alvarez wishes we were already in break, because now he's got a pitch at Tristan Becerra.
Well, obviously great job by Mike Bianco putting Dom Decker in motion. That's a double play. Instead, they've got a runner in scoring position with 2 outs.
And Fralick's going to go have a word with Andres Alvarez. There is no action in the Auburn bullpen. Lights are on out there. I'm not sure anybody is home. A couple guys milling about.
What a great job. Just have an arm to throw 100 miles an hour, but just hang out and watch a baseball game. Come in for an inning.
Maybe take a nap for the first few innings.
Yeah, at the big level, make $20 million a year. Doing what you see right there, pretty good.
That Auburn bullpen is located behind the big green monster in left field.
Is that the box of curveballs right there?
That is the box of curveballs. Those are left-handed curveballs. That's in the right field corner, essentially, for Ole Miss. 22 home runs for Becerra this year, fourth most in the SEC. Rembert was playing shallow right. Couldn't have placed him more perfect. 1-0 lead for Ole Miss. When we return, we'll talk with the Auburn skipper, Butch Thompson.
Easy again.
Game one of the Auburn Super Regional. Tom Hart, Todd Walker happen to be joined by Auburn head coach Butch Thompson. You've got a lot of flexibility with your pitching staff. What have you seen with Andreas Alvarez so far in this game?
Well, I think both teams were happy with the first inning there, and that's always a big moment. And then, you know, they get the two-out hit, I guess, on an 0-2 count there, and then we get the bases loaded. We both had an opportunity. It's close, and now it feels like this getting through this first third of the game, it's time to settle in and have some real at-bats.
Butch, you've been here a long time. You've talked about how great this fan base is. How about the crowd tonight?
Yeah, it's been awesome. It's been amazing. Our regionals was tremendous. I see it again tonight. And we just, you know, everybody do their part here and hunker in here and have a great baseball game.
Thanks for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
They had a school record in here on Monday night here at Plainsman Park, which has undergone some renovations over the last couple of years. And it is simply beautiful. But it's more than that, Todd, because talking with coaches around the SEC, they said it's not just the quaint little ballpark it used to be, where you could roll into Auburn and count on a couple of wins. Now they're on top of you, and the fans are into it, and it's a much bigger home field advantage.
I told you the story. Mike Bianca was sitting with us, you know, both when we came here in the early 90s. They had the chain link fence. They'd roll up the rented U-Haul behind our dugout, and all the students would sit on top of it and just scream and yell at you. When I left this ballpark after 3 games, I felt about 2 feet tall. I mean, they wore me out. That was back when they had John Powell, the nation's strikeout leader with the forkball, and much different now.
Ball and a strike to Bristol Carter, 9-hole hitter for Auburn. Hit over 9,000 in here on Monday night for the pivotal Game 7. Carter Jr. from Oak Ridge, North Carolina. He and Ballou have shared time in center field. Carter is a true speed threat. But he didn't get on the field during the regional. In fact, he hadn't played since the Arkansas game in the SEC tournament. He sends a line drive to left field. And Carter, wide turn, and he stumbled around the bag, but he'll get back in plenty of time. Almost blew out a tire, turn 4.
Heading down to the 9th spot, he's led off a lot for the Auburn Tigers this year. 30 of 31, like you mentioned, in stolen bases. And even this looks smooth. I mean, this guy can run. He tests the outfield and gets on back. Nobody on, him at first. High probability he's going to try to get to second.
Mason McCrane struck out looking his first time up. Interesting that Butch would say, first inning went both sides' way. Now we're about 3 innings into this. People are settling in. He had a comparison that he threw at us for pitching, and it seems he's changed his tune just a little bit. And by the way, it was impactful in the regional where they really tightened their bullpen rotation. That one through the right side off the bat of McCrane on the first pitch. And his line of thinking is that instead of going to reliever after reliever, you just kind of have to let guys get settled in. It's like buying a sports car. Like, it's not going to be broken in until you change the oil once or twice. And I felt like he's talking about this game the same way.
Well, that's kind of how it went in the regional. You know, they only used 3 relievers throughout the course of those last 3 games in the regional, and he just talks about less vulnerability in between pitchers. If you keep moving them in and out 1 inning at a time, one and a third here, then you're just more vulnerable in those spots. And so he likes for the pitchers to get out there, settle in, and it's pretty easy to say when he's got as talented of a staff as Auburn has.
It sure does. Here's Eric Guevara with 2 on in front of him and nobody out. And Guevara got hit by the pitch, and Auburn's loaded the bases again. Well, they had the bases loaded in the 2nd inning with 1 out, hit into a double play. Now they got Elliott backed up against the wall a 2nd time.
Well, I don't think Hunter Elliott was trying to come middle in, and certainly not that far inside. He just got a little spooked by the bunt. And, yeah, you see Foley set up pretty much right down the middle. Ball gets way up and in on Eric Guevara, and now with nobody out, the Tigers have something going.
And they've loaded the bases on just 6 pitches here in the 3rd, and now they have something going. But you got to pitch against this dude. 5-game home run streak for Chase Fralick. His home run total are the most for a catcher at Auburn since All-America Casey Dunn also did it back in the late 90s. And he's the first Division I player this decade to have a pair of 5-game home run streaks. Fly ball to left. This is Randall. It's his first play in left field, and the shortstop can't get a good throw off. A sac fly is able to bring home Bristol Carter. And Auburn has tied it on a Chase Fralick sac fly.
Well, number one, tonight Braden Randall got the first outfield fly ball under his belt. Never played outfield in college. And then they get away with Chase Fralick. Leaves it up over the zone. Hunter Elliott, Chase Fralick late on it, but does get the job done, ties the game.
You played infield, and then you're in the big leagues. You got thrown in outfield one day. How'd that work out for you?
Well, it felt like I was in a tornado most of the time. And I told you, I brought a first baseman mitt out there one time, and just to have some length. And it wasn't fun. It was very, very uncomfortable. You ought to all of a sudden get real conscious about easy stuff, easy fly balls, hitting the cutoff guy, and that's not good.
I don't think it's ever good when you start to think too much, Todd.
That's true, too. You've seen me think.
Here's Rembert. Rembert drew a walk his first time up. Nice block by Foley with 2 men on.
This is not a guy you want to face with runners on base. Chris Rembert, 15 for his last 30 during this 17-game hit streak with runners on.
And he rips it to third. Udemark's got it. Looking for 2, and a strong throw for a 5-3 double play. And for a team that was nearly last in the SEC in double plays, the Rebels have turned 2 tonight, and that was just an 11-pitch inning for Elliott.
And he shows off his arm. The hardest part about that is gathering yourself, and Judd Udemark shows his veteran leadership there.
Mike Rooney here as we give you an update from Morgantown Super Regional earlier today. Tyrus Hall Grand Slam.
Out of the 8-hole, that'll play.
They go on to win 12-2. Tom Hart, how many pepperoni rolls did you consume last weekend?
Chris, I'm so glad you asked. I only got one, but that was because I wanted to make sure there was plenty for everybody else. Todd is just really excited now because Tyrus Hall, the kid from Bossier City, is wanting to hit the Grand Slam. That's your neck of the woods.
That's right.
You guys don't have pepperoni rolls down there.
I've never heard of it in my life.
You need a road trip to Morgantown. We'll go up on Randy's Ridge. Randy Mazey's wife made over 100 pepperoni rolls for the fans to watch the game for free down the right field line.
That sounds exciting.
Here's Ethan Bingaman. I don't sense the appreciation that is required.
It's required.
Yeah. There's a first pitch strike to Hayden Federico. What a scene in Morgantown last week. And then we had McAfee and Rich Rod sitting right behind home plate today. It looked like a wedding reception. The line of people that made it down the aisle to get a picture with our talk into the ear of Pat McAfee it was like a parade. They just kept coming. 0-2 to Federico, who was hit by a pitch his first time up. This is one of two SEC versus SEC Supers. The other will begin tomorrow morning in Athens, Georgia. Bulldog battle, Mississippi State against UGA. 0-2, got him at 94. ESPN is the home of MLB.tv. Stream every out-of-market game live or on demand using the ESPN app. Blackout and other restrictions apply. For more information, go to ESPN.com/MLB.tv.
There is such a thing as outthinking yourself, and that's why you're seeing some of these freeze-ups. You know, especially in a big game like this, you get in your own head. I always felt the best way to come out of that is just to say, look, I'm swinging every pitch until I recognize that it's not a strike. And you got to release yourself a little bit to swing at bad pitches. But the opposite's not true and not good. Taking strike three, don't give yourself a chance. That's a tough way to go about it. So for me, I was always in swing mode. But in order to do that, you got to release yourself into thinking, I might swing at a bad pitch.
6 strikeouts, 4 of them looking to your point, and that one up and in. So you're saying it's okay to swing at a bad pitch?
When you're growing up and a kid takes a fastball a little high and he swings at it and the coach yells at him, that's a ball, don't swing at it. Well, then you freeze up, the next pitch is a strike. And so I think you learned that initially growing up playing baseball.
Backhanded, knocked down by Rembert, has time to recover and retires Pano.
So the same concept's true here. In your own mind, you think, I don't want to swing at a bad pitch.
Yep.
And so you freeze up on pitches like that when you should be in swing mode. And again, the only way to release yourself of that is to think, I might swing at a ball in the dirt, but I'm going.
So what role do nerves have in that when we get to
huge.
This stage with so much on the
It
line?
affects you mentally. You know, you talk about this game of baseball. It's, you know, it's all up in your head. And early in these games, you know, that's what's tough about the Super Regionals in Omaha, is because you start thinking thoughts that you haven't thought about all year.
Pitch low to Austin Foley, who struck out looking his first time up. 27% strikeout rates, the 3rd highest in Division I. And Ole Miss continuing that. Here's the challenge for Ole Miss through this series. Their high strikeout rate is normally balanced out by 2 things. Number 1, power, 20th in the country in home runs, and number 2, a high walk rate. However, Auburn doesn't walk anybody. Number 1 in the nation, fewer than 3 walks per 9 innings, and number 2 in the country in WHIP at 1.19.
And that's why the Auburn pitching staff is so impressive. Ole Miss can get a lot of strikeouts. They're good on the mound too. But for Auburn, when you've got that strikeout to walk ratio at 3.75 to 1, best in the country, that means that you're throwing strikes, which the hitters know you're going to be around the zone, and able to get away with it, which means he's got some power behind it too. That's why 96, 97 matters, because if you threw 88, then I can sit back as a hitter and look off speed and react to your fastball, but it's harder to react at high velocity.
Here's the 2-2 to Foley, and he rips the breaking ball into the left field corner. Terrell will play it off the fence. Foley racing for second, and the throw is high. Austin Foley gambled, but Terrell's throw was off the mark.
Yeah, I think he would have got him if it's on the mark. And that's why we always tell the infielders, but even the outfielders, it can bounce 1,000 times. Just don't launch it up in the air. give your second base or in the infield your first baseman a chance. And this ball is just a hanging slider. Austin Foley top spins it over to left. Otherwise, that ball goes a long way. And Bob Terrell picks it up and just left shoulder is going to be up in the air, or right shoulder, sorry, and just launches it. And the Rebs have a runner in scoring possession with 2 outs.
First extra base hit for either team. 2-out double for Foley. Braden Randall's got an RBI single. And he looks at the first pitch low. Mentioned 2 SEC versus SEC Supers. The SEC has sent a record 7 teams to the Super Regional round. The league as a whole is looking for its 7th consecutive title. LSU won it all last year, but the Tigers didn't make the field this year. In fact, we will have a brand new field in Omaha. None of the 8 teams that made it there last year are still alive.
Isn't that impressive? I mean, it just shows you the parity in the country now and where we're at in college baseball.
It was a wild ride on regional weekend last year. Number 1 and 2 both went down for the 2nd straight season. Last year it was Vanderbilt and Texas. This year UCLA and Georgia Tech. Bruins lost their opener. They became the first ever number 1 overall seed to lose their opening game since this format debuted in '99.
And we have three seeds in the Supers. We have 3 4 seeds in the Supers, which is the first time that's ever happened. Little Rock and the Johnnies from St. John, both 4 seeds.
3 balls and a strike now to Braden Randall. Alvarez allowed 8 hits in 5 2/3 last time out against NC State. He's been more effective so far tonight. Popped out of play. He's gone over 100 pitches 4 times this season, including against the Wolfpack when he threw 105. I get the feeling with the way the Auburn bullpen performed last week, he may not be around for 100 tonight, even if he is effective. Payoff. And through the hole against the shift, they'll wave home Foley. Terrell's throw comes into second, and Ole Miss has its 2nd lead of the game on an RBI single from Braden Randall. Randall's driven in both runs tonight for the Rebels.
They work the shift based on spray charts, and it's going to be 75% pull for Braden Randall, something like that. But the problem with the shift is you have to pitch to it. And on a 3-1 count, Braden Randall gets the fastball. But on 3-2, if there's any bit of thought that he might get an off speed, he's going to be late on the fastball. Nobody's in the shortstop hole. That's a fastball middle in, not a bad pitch. Jams him up, but there's nobody standing there. And the Rebs get another run.
So here's Colin Reuter. He swings at the first pitch 41% of the time. He lays off that one low and away, and steal a second is not there. And then Rembert had the tag on Randall as Chase Fralick delivers it on top of the bag.
You mentioned it earlier, Tom, 25% throwing out runners, and that was right on the money. Transfers quick, puts it right on the bag. Chase Fralick.
Talk to another catcher, Mike Bianco, when we return. Welcome to the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals presented by Capital One. Tom Hart and Todd Walker, sold out Plainsman Park in Auburn. We're joined now by Ole Miss head coach Mike Bianco. You've coached in many big games. You've won a national championship. How do you get guys ready for an environment like this that you face so often in the league?
Well, you know, one of the things, Tom, is, you know, you play in this league, and so you get used to this kind of atmosphere, but it's a great one tonight for sure. You know, and the other thing is when you get to this point, will you play loose? Will you play free? You know, people talk about having fun. Well, you know, that's how you have fun, is that you go for it. So that's the big challenge, I think, for everybody.
And Bio, how about Hunter Elliott tonight? You've been around this kid for 5 years. What have you seen from him?
You know, Todd, you know, what you see is sometimes what happens to him is, you know, he has some innings where the command's not great, but usually he can make pitches and get out of it, and that's what the great ones do. And then, you know, usually he'll catch his, catch his spark there, and all of a sudden give you, you know, 3 really good ones. But proud of the way he's hung in there, 2 bases loaded, you know, jams that he was able to get out of.
Appreciate the insight. We'll let you get back to work.
All right, guys, appreciate it.
There's Mike Bianco. He's got Hunter Elliott on the mound dealing with Ethan Bingaman now. He's got 15 home runs on the season. It is interesting when you talk about this pitching staff for Ole Miss, because Elliott's numbers over the course of the season are not as impressive as tomorrow night's starter, or if we get a game 3, who we'll see later in the weekend.
Yeah, well, the pitching staff's pretty good. Strikeouts per 9 innings, 11.5, top 10 in the country. Strikeout to walk ratio, 5th in the country.
Bingaman sends it sky high to center. Federico sets up camp. And 1 down. Yes, 2nd in the country in strikeouts overall as a staff.
But you heard him say, I mean, it's not going to be smooth for you all the time, and veterans do that. They find a way to get out of it. They don't panic. Hunter Elliott's had some traffic early in this game, and that might wear on him as the game goes on, but so far has been able to dodge a lot of it.
Got a pair of double plays, 1 to end the 2nd, 1 to end the 3rd. This is Bub Terrell. Double-digit home runs for an Auburn team that really turned it on late from a power department perspective. And talking with hitting coach Gabe Gross earlier in the season, this is an Auburn lineup that really focused on putting the ball in play and learning the strike zone. And as a result of that, eventually the home runs came.
I think it kind of started in the Florida series when they put Mason McCrane in the leadoff spot. Mason McCrane hit 3 home runs and 10 at-bats in that series and kind of let the rest of the lineup fall into place. So now Chase Fralick in the 3 spot, Chris Rembert in the 4 spot, and he just talks about putting Mason McCrane at the leadoff spot made everybody else more comfortable throughout the lineup.
And that's also a series where Bub Terrell turned it up. He was pinch hit for in game 2 of that series, and in game 3 hit a game-tying home run and a comeback win. There's Gabe, who runs the offense for this Auburn team. Played here both baseball and football as an Auburn quarterback before being drafted by the Blue Jays.
First-round pick back in 2001. You talked about a home run.
4-pitch walk to Bub Terrell. Yeah, he did not have a great start at Double-A. His radio announcer wasn't very good either, but I saw him hit 4 home runs at the same site, Regents Park in Hoover, where we play the SEC tournament now. And Gabe talked about the adjustment being a college player going to the pro game. It's not always easy. He, of course, made it to the big leagues and was up there for a long time. Here's Brandon McCrane after the 4-pitch walk to Terrell. And he got it picked off, but it's dropped. Will Furness had it in his glove, and somehow it flew out of the leather. What'd you see, Todd?
Well, that's what Butch Thompson talks about. Hunter Elliott has the best pickoff move to first base in the league. And false step by Bub Terrell, he's out if Will Furness can just catch it. And just short hops him enough to catch him in the palm, not able to get a handle on it. Bub Terrell able to get back, but that's what they're fully aware of, is that Hunter Elliott can pick you off. There is no steal in the bag on a read. They're either going to go on first move or not go at all, but Hunter Elliott's really good. And what makes it good as a runner is you're looking at him and he looks like he's going to the plate. He doesn't look at you when he's coming over. He looks like he's going to home, and then you take that lead and you get picked.
Terrell doesn't run very often anyway, only 6 attempts on the year. And he'll have a minuscule lead from here on out. 1 ball, 1 strike to Brandon McCrane, the 7-hole hitter for this Auburn team.
See, he doesn't give you a look when he's going. Bub Terrell's saying he didn't. There's an imaginary 45-degree line that he's got to stay within to throw it over to first base, and he's right on that line. But as a runner, you're watching his right knee. If he crosses the mound, then he has to go home. But it's still tough to read. Hunter Elliott does the same motion if he's going to the home plate as he is if he's picking off at first. See, so his knee went beyond the mound. He's got to go to home.
This is Dom Decker. 2 down. How much film work would Auburn have done on Elliott's pickoff move?
You'd be fully aware of it, but I would imagine, without talking to Bub Terrell, your mind's on different things. Like, you know, wow, I just got on base. Or, you know, how am I going to try to steal this bag? And you're thinking about all kind of other stuff in your mind as he's coming at you.
So 1 on and 2 out. And Ballou looks at a first pitch strike. He disagreed with that call from John Brammer. Ballou's an Auburn native. He played his high school ball 2.5 miles up the road at Auburn High School. Perfect game had him as a number 3 player in the state of Alabama. A state, by the way, which is hosting 3 super regionals. And that's a rarity. It's only the 4th time that any state has been a home to 3 super regionals, and the other 2 certainly make a lot more sense, both Texas and California. Texas has done it twice and California once. Alabama opens super regional play tomorrow. Troy opened today with a blowout win. Hotbed of college baseball now.
Pretty strong. Yeah. Troy through the Sun Belt lost the final of that tournament. What a great run they've had.
Here's the 1-2 to Ballou. And another throw over. By the way, Lance Cormier called that game 1 of the Troy Super Regional today. Jumped in the car and is hightailing it this way to try to get here as soon as he can because his son pitches out of the bullpen for Auburn.
Yeah, LJ. What do you think parents will do? We talked to Mike Bianco. His son Ben played at Louisville, and he was all decked up in Louisville gear.
Yeah, I was surprised. Yeah, he went and saw him play at Vanderbilt during a week where they had finals and nothing else going on. He said, "I'm sitting in the stands. I got my Louisville cap on." Wait a second. You're wearing another team's gear? He said, "Well, I wasn't going to wear Ole Miss gear. Didn't want to end up on TV or get hassled by the fans."
That's my son.
You could still go generic, right? I mean,
he's all in.
13 pickoffs this season for Elliott. The rest of the team combined has 12. And this one's fouled off by Ballou.
Left-handers actually hit Hunter Elliott better. 266 against.
Why do you think that is?
Just feel like more stuff that are closer to the barrel. You know,
Like the
lefty. Well, you're not supposed to throw left-handed changeup to left-handed hitters. That's a no-no. He still will do it. But I think he just leaves a lot over the plate and in on left-handed hitters as opposed to what you're supposed to do and leave it away from the barrel. See how that's right down the middle. Maybe the eyesight, whatever, he has a hard time hitting that outside corner on left-handed hitters.
Well, Auburn prepared for it. In fact, they brought out the pitching machine and were firing balls right at the front hip of left-handed hitters. Gabe Gross wants to use an offensive timeout here with 2 strikes on Cade Ballou. Actually, he's coming out with a trainer. And the athletic trainer is going to look at Ballou, who's doesn't look comfortable. The right elbow seems to be an issue. And that is awfully tender.
Yeah, he doesn't wear a protective shield on that right elbow.
Ballou bounced into a double play his first time up. Do you think he just hyperextended it?
Yeah, that's my guess. But it's amazing how much can affect you of a swing. There's so many moving parts to a swing. And any little nagging injury or something will affect you. I mean, that thing really hurts, I think, when he gets extended with that right arm.
Here's the 1-2. Reach for and pulls it foul.
Yeah, it's almost like kind of a half swing, and watch his face. Yeah, it's biting on him every time. But he's in pull mode, so for Hunter Elliott, anything out away from Cade Ballou should get him.
Eighth pitch of the bat, and he drills it to center field after fouling off 7 straight. And Ballou's got a 2-out single.
That's just a good at bat. Fouled off some tough sliders, gets the fastball up, and able to rip it back up the middle. Take another look from Cade Ballou. Fastball catches too much of the plate. Cade Ballou stays through it, as if he's finally going to stay back on a slider, and fastball he's able to catch up to. Nice piece of hitting right there.
So Bristol Carter in the 9-hole is essentially a second leadoff man for Auburn, especially with his speed, and he reached his first time up to start the 3rd. Making Elliott work a little bit. This next pitch will be his 20th of the inning. And ridden to right field. Becerra drifts back to make the catch to close the inning. No runs ahead, a couple more left on for Ole Miss, or pardon me, for Auburn. It's 2-1 Rebels.
Chris Button and Mike Rooney here in the Chapel Hill Super. North Carolina 44-0 when leading by multiple runs until Dean Carpentier said no more.
He had other ideas, Mr. Carpentier.
Yes, he did. As the Trojans win 9-5. Tom, Todd, back to you guys.
Thanks. Yeah, Tar Heels only Division I team that hadn't blown a multi-run lead this season, but they've done it each of the last 3 super regional games. Here's the side that starts tomorrow. Begins at 11 a.m. Eastern in Athens, Georgia and Mississippi State. And our second SEC versus SEC Super Regional.
Texas and Mississippi State, both 2 teams within the 30 games of the conference schedule in the SEC. Top 5 in both hitting and pitching, so 2 well-rounded teams. That Mississippi State-Georgia series, a beast.
Reuter was at the plate in the second, flew out to end it with 2 men on base. And he was at the plate in the 4th when Randall was caught stealing. Fastball misses low, 1-2. Reuter 6'2", 235. Swing and a miss. And another strikeout for Andreas Alvarez. That is his 7th of the game.
Well, it just seems like Andres Alvarez, when a hitter's looking off speed, he throws the fastball. When they're looking fastball, this happens. Just a curveball right on the outside corner.
How much credit does Chase Fralick get for that?
And then where he's sitting right there, he hits the mitt. And again, we know how accurate this Auburn staff is as a whole. But when you can just set up in a spot and you know it's going to hit the mitt, that's pretty good.
Decker sends it through the left side. He's got a 2-hit game.
After striking out on 3 pitches, Dom Decker to lead off the game, 2 base hits in a row. And that's just elite hitting, staying back and taking what the pitcher gives you right through the hole. Eric Guevara almost got it, but he was pulled in on the grass, created some angles on the left side with the threat of a bunt, and he gets a base hit.
4 of their 6 hits have come from lefties today against Andres Alvarez. Here's Udemark. 1 strikeout swinging, 1 looking, and he freezes on that fastball. Are you seeing from Udemark what you talked about earlier? Just overthinking and
overswinging, overthinking. You feel like you got to hit a 6-run homer for your team, you know, and you wouldn't know unless you talk to him, but that's what it looks like to me. Is he'll calm down, he'll settle down, but like we mentioned with him, you know, in the regional, 2 for 13, so probably feels like he's got to do a little too much.
Well, and high velocity fastballs are usually what he's hunting for. He's got an OPS of over 1,300 against fastballs at 94 plus. And he just watched that one go by. Doesn't watch this one, but he's a hair late, and now it's 0-2.
Yeah, and I missed what you asked about Chase Fralick. You're not talking about the positioning. You're talking about thinking the process. Well, Chase Fralick is a great hitter, not a good hitter. And most catchers in the past were just decent hitters. So he has that elite thinking about what the hitter might be looking for, and he does the other. So he gets a lot of credit for that.
Great game caller and game manager. 0-2 is hammered high to left field, headed towards a 37-foot wall and over everybody. Judd Udemark, 43 degrees off the bat, and that one sky high to left is 22nd. That is what Judd Udemark can do.
43 degrees is a pop-up most of the time. That's how much power this guy has. 113 off the bat will do it. And left field, he gets a hanger, and he crushed it. You saw the stat. Back-to-back 20 home run seasons. Program's all-time leader in home runs. You don't hang a pitch to him. And Ole Miss extends their lead with the Stormtrooper. Look where this pitch is. Just hangs the curveball up there, and the timing's perfect for Judd Udemark. I mean, that's straight up in the air and gets out of here. I mean, what a powerful blast from the 2 spot.
It's only his 3rd home run against a curveball this year.
Look at this angle and leverage. Got extended, got every bit of that.
You know, usually if you hit a ball that high, it's got to be wind aided to get out of the ballpark. There's 0 wind in the ballpark tonight.
Yeah, just the backspin and the power behind that baseball.
He adds to his Ole Miss career record. Will Furnace is 0 for 2 tonight. This is the 3rd trip through the order for Andres Alvarez.
Ole Miss only has 2 300 hitters in this lineup. Judd Udemark, who you just saw, and Will Furnace right here. Hayden Federico's right up under it at 298. But for a group that hits 265 as a team, but doesn't matter what the stats say during the course of the year. It matters what happens now, and they've been pretty efficient at the plate.
Hot shot to Rembert. Tried to side saddle it, and it skipped right by him. Go back to the home run by Udemark.
I mean, this is 6'5", 255 coming at you, and just perfect balance. You know, you can be confident in a pitch when you get the educated guess process right, which means I'm guessing along with the pitcher. I know what he's going to throw, and he was on time with that one. Knew a slider was coming, or a curveball, and when you leave it up in the zone, Judd Udemark can hammer it.
There's a power station behind the wall in left field, and that one ended up amongst the power station. It took out the whole grid. And a visit to the mound from Everett Tieford. We were talking with Butch Thompson about the pitching struggles early in that regional last week against Milwaukee, and he brought up something very interesting. Now, it's not in play tonight. However, during the regular season, SEC teams are not allowed to use in-helmet communication for the offense. That was a rule that was done away with in the league a couple of years ago. But Milwaukee was allowed to use it. And Butch was telling us, he goes, we figured out they were so good with our tendencies in specific counts that their hitters had that advantage. How did Auburn fix it? They essentially pitched backwards against all of their tendencies the next time they faced.
And some of the better hitters have that internally. Like, you can think along with pitchers based on what you've seen on video, which is, there's more scouting now than there ever was. And like I talked about, your first at bat, just getting a feel for what the pitch sequences are, watching guys in front of you. You ought to have that already as a hitter. Going back to that Judd Udemark home run at 43 degrees. The highest launch angle recorded in Major League was J.D. Martinez at 49. So, I mean, that's a skyrocket.
Yeah, Matt Olson hit one similar a couple of nights ago for the Braves, but it took a breeze to carry it at another 50 feet because he got it up in the jet stream. It was an error on Rembert to allow Furness to reach, just his 6th of the season.
Yeah, just kind of side barreled it. You know, you got the luxury on the right side to block it and keep it in front of you, pick it up like we've seen early in the game with Rembert. And
yeah, that's what he did with the settlements.
Right, and so that time just got a little too comfortable.
Oh, paints the inside corner with 94. And Becerra froze it. 8th K for Alvarez.
He's racking up the strikeouts after only 1 strikeout into the 6th inning during the regional. And this is the best pitch a pitcher can throw to me. Because as a hitter, if you prove to me you can throw a fastball in, it makes me vulnerable to every other pitch because I feel like I got to get the barrel out to that inside 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and you start cheating with your front side.
This is Hayden Federico, hit by pitch his first time up. One and 0 to Federico. Little roller. And a beautiful play by Eric Guevara at third. But Judd Udemark adds to his Ole Miss record with another home run.
51st home run for Judd Udemark. And that ball got up and out in a hurry. Ole Miss with a 4-1 lead.
The real fun just getting started.
Run straight for the breakaway.
The celebration is on.
6 consecutive national champions from the Southeastern Conference. The SEC could have as many as 5 teams in Omaha next week. Guaranteed at least 2. And look at the variety of national champions that have come from this league, including the Rebels in 22.
Could have been Arkansas in 2018. Florida won it in 2017. So big run for the SEC.
First pitch strike to Mason McCrane. McCrane is 1 for 2 tonight. Singled his last time up. 60th pitch of the night from Hunter Elliott. Ole Miss has not lost a game this season when leading by 3 or more at any point in the game. The Rebels are a perfect 35-0. And they've got a veteran pitcher who knows how to win in the postseason on the mound. Climbs the ladder 1-2. Hunter Elliott in 6 postseason starts is 4-0 with a sub-2 ERA. And he is climbing the Ole Miss career strikeout list behind Drew Pomeranz and Lance Lynn. He is 3rd overall, and he may just catch Lynn. If he gets another start this postseason, of course, that would come in Omaha, 2-2.
You can see how well Mason McCrane is seeing the baseball. He gives up on it about halfway to the plate when it's a ball. I mean, he is picking the ball up early.
Now 2-2.
And that's what Gabe Gross says, like for Mason McCrane, and that's why he's in the leadoff spot. Sees a lot of pitches, excellent command of the zone. The ball cutting away, looked like a strike at first, and he just lets it go, ends up being a ball.
7 hits in the regional, 5 extra base hits. 3 doubles, a triple, and a home run, and he takes a walk to start this 5th inning. Mariners and Orioles this Thursday at 7 Eastern. You can catch it on ESPN. You can stream the game on the ESPN app. Mariners have won 10 of their last 13. Now top the AL West. The Orioles have finally turned it up. They've won 9 of 13. Leadoff walk to McCrane. Here's Eric Guevara. That was a second walk from Elliott. Well, Gabe Gross runs the offense for Auburn with Elliott on the mound. Todd, do you think he's tempted to try and get the run game going here?
Mason McCrane 5 for 8 on stolen bases. You got a guy that can really swing the bat. I just don't know that you force anything at this point, down by 3.
Right side of the infield is wide open with Decker playing near the bag at second.
Now that is something you do pay attention to as a hitter. I mean, they've got him kind of in the shift for a reason because Guevara is a pull guy. But in your mind as a hitter, if you can think off speed and he busts that fastball in there, that'll allow you to be late on it and hit the other way. But he's not trying.
No.
That front side opened early and he's trying to yank.
Guevara went to high school with Georgia's third baseman Trey Phelps, who will not be in action tomorrow for the Bulldogs when they open against Mississippi State. He's suspended after an ejection for taunting in the final game of the regional.
They're starting to pick up on Hunter Elliott's changeup. You saw Eric Guevara, just like I talked about Mason McCrane. They see it halfway there and they just give up on it and it drops low. That's intended to be a swing and miss pitch, but Eric Guevara is not biting.
Nice block by Foley. Three and one.
Now you could possibly put him in motion just to stay out of a double play when you think a fastball is coming and you're not going to get a swing and miss. So you got to watch the pick.
Popped out of play. The 5th has been the inning for Auburn's offense all season. They are 2nd in the country in run production in the 5th inning, only behind the now eliminated Georgia Tech offense, which was one of the best overall in the nation.
And I think they're less likely to run because of that move by Hunter Elliott. He's just afraid to get picked off. I mean, Mason's one step off the bag.
Would Guevara be thinking changeup here, even though the count's 3-2?
You at least got it in the back of your mind, and that's all Hunter Elliott needs, right? Because if you're thinking off speed, that's when his 89, 90 mile an hour cutter works better, or the four-seamer.
Fights it off and sends it into right field.
So based on that swing, yes. Eric Guevara was thinking the same way you were. Might get a changeup. 81 miles an hour right here. And it is a changeup that just stays up. But Eric Guevara sees it in the spot out over the plate and waits on it and hits it to right field. Great hitting by Eric Guevara at the 2 spot into right field.
And what a difference his adjustment late in the at-bat versus trying to yank it early in the at-bat.
That's what the better hitters do. You adjust pitch by pitch. You know, you might show them that you're lift and separate with the front side, but then the next pitch, you know, you get tighter and stay in there. And as you kind of get the pitch sequence for that at-bat going, then you can kind of guess along, and that's where your confidence comes from. But again, Eric Guevara, the ability to let that ball travel, even with a changeup, and hit it the other way. Perfect.
First 2 on with Hudson Calhoun getting loose in the Ole Miss pen, and nobody out for Chase Fralick. Fralick is driven in Auburn's lone run with a sacrifice fly tonight. They did a lot of work with Fralick against left-handed pitching, especially fastballs inside, to stay on top of it, and Todd to get away from the tennis swing, which made him one of the best in the country as a youngster. Two and 0.
Yeah, that was a fastball that just got left low, but Auburn's trying to pick up on all the off-speed now by Ole Miss and Hunter Elliott. So the off-speed isn't working as well as it did in the first inning.
Stays on it, but popped it up. Shallow right, Decker back, and this will be Furness after all, 1 down.
Auburn's hoping that the Mason McCrane not being able to get over to third on Eric Guevara's base hit to right doesn't come back and haunt him. That wouldn't have got him in anyway, but it's a much less difficult at bat for a hitter if you have a runner standing at third base with less than 2 outs.
So here's Rembert, chance to atone for his error in the top of the 5th inning. Bounce into a double play his last time up and rolls over this one foul. Earl Nonamaker picks it up. Fantastic Auburn staff. They put together a fantastic young team led by their sophomores primarily and a bunch of freshmen who have turned it on late in the season. And Rembert sends it up the middle. Around third is McCrane. It will wave him home. And Auburn has runners at first and third with 1 in, and now the crowd back to life here at Plainsman Park.
Chris Rembert 0 for 1 in this game. Before that at bat, 15 for 30 with runners on. I mean, when he sees those guys out there, he locks in. 18-game hit streak now for Chris Rembert. He is as hot as it gets, and this is just kind of a change-up moving away from his bat at 81 miles an hour, and he stays on it enough to get the barrel up the middle, and Auburn crawling back with their 2nd run.
It'll be the end of the line for Hunter Elliott after 4 1/3. Calhoun out of the bullpen. The Ole Miss bullpen was fantastic in the Lincoln Regional. But now they've got this sellout crowd back into the game. 2 on with 1 out when we return. Hunter Elliott has not lost a postseason game in his Ole Miss career, and that includes starting the championship game in Omaha in 2022. But he leaves after just 4 1/3 tonight, and he leaves with a couple of runners on. He'll turn it over to Hudson Calhoun, junior from Tupelo, Mississippi, 6'4", 210.
95 on the four-seamer with a cut slider change to left-handers, fastball cut slider to right-handers. His out pitch is that slider, 43% swing and miss to right-handers, but it's unusually good against left-handed hitters where he gets 53% swing and miss because he can bury it low and in to the left-handed hitter. That's his out pitch.
And his swing and miss is second best in the SEC at 37%. Appeared twice in the Lincoln Regional, pitch against both Nebraska and Arizona State in a pair of wins. And a first pitch fastball at 93 is up and away from Ethan Bingaman. Big opportunity for the freshman Ethan Bingaman, who came into Auburn as a two-way player. He said he had to make a decision, pitching or hitting. He said, I just couldn't stand to only play once every 5 days. Swing and a miss on a breaking ball.
But he's so talented. I said, which do you like better? He said, well, I'm pitching well. I like pitching. When I'm hitting well, I like to hit. And he's just so talented both ways.
4 home runs in the regional of his 9 hits. He also had 2 doubles. 0 for 2 tonight.
Perfect spot on that cutter. Just low and outside around the corner, 87.
Bingaman was a number 4 right-handed pitcher in his senior class coming out of Corona High School in California.
th round pick by the Arizona Diamondbacks. Hit .333 in SEC play. It's very hard to get on the field as a freshman nowadays. And his last 20 games have been really good.
One two to Bingaman. Poked foul. Runners at first and third with 1 down. Ole Miss has turned a pair of double plays tonight. And a fastball up 2-2. Tied him up at 94 inside.
That was tough. First of all, you're looking off speed, trying to protect the 2 strikes. Second of all, when that pitch is above the belt, it's closer to your eyes, so it looks so good as a hitter. But at 94 miles an hour, it's just going to be tough to catch up to, and then that ball is buried in on his hands. Great pitch by Hudson Calhoun.
So here's Bub Terrell, who late in the season really settled in the groove using the backside of the field. 16 home runs and 45 driven in. I asked Bub late in the season when he learned to use the backside of the field, and if he was always big, strong relative to his age. I mean, he's 6'3", 237 now. He goes, well, I was always big. He said, but I was a pudgy little teenager, and that's all I could do before the power came to the pull side. And he sends this one straight ahead to Federico. And Auburn is able to scratch one across on a Chris Rembert single, but they're going to leave a pair. That is 7 left on through 5 for the Tigers. Tailgating on top of the parking garage outside the stadium here at Auburn. And they can see themselves on TV in the left field corner. Scuba, here's the game summary. Hunter Elliott 4 1/3 before leaving. Braden Randall's 2 for 2 with a couple of RBI. And Andreas Alvarez still in the game for the Tigers as we go to the top of the 6th.
Andres Alvarez had 88 pitches right now coming into this one.
Shortstop Owen Pano leads off, and he looks at a first pitch strike, 0-1. Really interesting conversation with Mike Bianco about Pano's career beginning and some struggles defensively and how that kind of impacted him from a confidence standpoint. But what a fantastic job to put those frustrations behind and kind of turn it up, and his coach has the utmost confidence in him.
Well, he's used to being a superstar at high school, Gatorade Player of the Year out of New York, and it's tough to just jump into Division I and be successful. And both sides of the plate matter, and one affects the other. You know, and if you're not hitting well, if you're supposed to be a defender, it'll affect you defensively as well. But I think you're seeing Owen Pano kind of coming to his own right here. Didn't have a great regional last week, 1 for 13, 7 strikeouts. But Mike Bianco talks a lot about how good he's been defensively.
Yeah, he had 3 web gems last week, saving runs for Ole Miss in that Lincoln Regional. And those matter when you're playing tight games. 2 of their 3 wins came in extra innings. He had a huge hit to drive in a run against Nebraska. And he shoots it foul, 1-2.
And that's kind of an example of a, kind of a back pitch. 1-2, kind of your third or fourth option that you think Alvarez is going to throw at you is a middle in fastball. And you're looking out over the plate, and that's what makes Andres Alvarez so good, is he can think along with the hitter.
Now 2-2. Pano's got 5 home runs on the year. 4 of them have come against SEC pitching. And he sets down Pano for strikeout number 9.
Not only that, the location for Andres Alvarez. There's 9 strikeouts tonight. He goes fastball in, goes changeup low, and then slider in. So he's moving the eyesight of the hitter away, in, away. And Owen Pano just not able to hold up. He thought that was going to be that fastball middle in again. He didn't want to get burnt. And he gets the check swing.
So base is empty for Foley, who doubled and scored last time up. And 94 just below the knees for strike 1. Alvarez nearing the century mark in pitches. He's gone over 104 times this season, including last time out against NC State when he threw 105. In on the thumbs, and that one just out of the reach of Bingaman. So you figure from a pitch count perspective, this will be the last frame for Alvarez?
Yeah, I would think that jumps him over 100 before this is all done. 97 now. And I talked about, this is 16th start in the last 15 starts for him. He's gone into the 5th, every one of them. So he does have longevity.
Oh, 2 is up and away. Auburn is a perfect 11-0 on the season when Alvarez completes 5 full innings. Cormier loose. His dad is finally in the building. Showed up after calling the Troy win earlier today. That's L.J. Cormier. There's Lance and his wife Jamie, son Wilkes. And for Bama fans, it's got to look weird for Lance Cormier to be wearing an Auburn logo.
That's right.
100th pitch of the night. Out off again.
Well, you love the big leg kick like you're seeing from Austin Foley because it loads up your backside and you're, of course, going to have more power coming through the baseball, but it's hard to have the timing. And Austin Foley has had problems with the timing. But again, if he guesses right and the timing's on, he can hit it a long way.
And he looks at 95 for the 10th strikeout of the game for Andreas Alvarez.
So you start watching Andres Alvarez, and how many times has he split the plate? It's just not much. He's been so accurate around the outside edges. And this one right here, another fastball middle in, which, you know, any kind of change-up thought, slider away thought, and you just can't pull the trigger on that. Just burns him inside. Another strikeout for Andres Alvarez.
Here's Braden Randall, Jr. from Rockwall, Texas, and a curveball in the dirt to start off Randall. Randall making his first ever appearance in the outfield at the college ranks. And he's batting 1,000 as an outfielder. 2 for 2 tonight.
Now a 5-game hit streak for Braden Randall. 8 hits and now 16 at bats, all singles.
Randall was 3-time All-State at Rockwall High School in Texas. Has only played middle infield for Ole Miss since he got to campus until tonight. And what a time to be taking on a position change.
He got the first one under his belt. He's had one fly ball out there in left field, made to play. Gotta get the first one out of the way.
Three and 2. Next strikeout for Alvarez will match his career high. And 6 of the first 10 have come looking. Looking to K the side for the second time tonight. Payoff from Alvarez. Oh my, it was right there. 2-out walk puts Randall aboard.
Whether that was a strike or not, what you love about Andres Alvarez is he gives himself a chance. That was extremely competitive strike 3 pitch. And could have been in, maybe, but Auburn can't believe it.
He's hit a batter, but that's his first walk of the night as Everett Teaford comes to the mound. Gives us a chance to remind you that Saturday at 8 Eastern, Stanley Cup Final continues on ABC. Game 3, Hurricanes versus the Golden Knights, tied at 1 win apiece. Hurricanes had cruised through the postseason, going 12-1 prior to Tuesday's loss to Vegas. They're looking for their first Stanley Cup since 2006. The Golden Knights are looking for their second in the last 4 years. That'll be the end of the line for Andres Alvarez. One off his career high for strikeouts. He leaves with a runner on and 2 out, and he'll leave it for the bullpen, and L.J. Cormier coming in for Auburn.
PN app.
Andres Alvarez with 10 strikeouts. He leaves after 107 pitches. The 10K is the most by an Auburn pitcher in a game this postseason. And he hands it off to a true freshman. This is L.J. Cormier, 6'1", 173 out of Tuscaloosa and Sipsey Valley High School. 2-0 with a 2.49 ERA. And he had a bounce-back performance last time out in a win against Milwaukee after he labored in Game 1 against Milwaukee.
Did have 10 strikeouts in those 7 2/3 in the regional last week. 192 against. Low 90s fastball with a curveball, but he's going to use the changeup to both sides of the plate more than any other pitch. 45% to left-handers, 40% to right-handers. Lefties only hitting 135 off the right-hander, L.J. Cormier.
It'll start with Colin Reuter with 1 on and 2 out. The fastball's ridden deep to center field. Carter's going to run out of room. It is off the top of the fence. And it's a double for Colin Reuter. Did it go? It did. It was off the batter's eye for a 2-run home run for Colin Reuter. Seventh home run this season for Reuter.
That's a big boy, just hit that. 6'2", 235 senior Colin Reuter transferred in from BYU a couple of years ago. Had 13 starts last year with only 3 home runs. Hidden in the 9-hole, Colin Reuter with a lot of power and just ambushes the first pitch low and away. Gets the barrel out dead center. That's a long way and extends the Rebels' lead.
411-foot home run for Reuter. Second home run in as many innings, for Ole Miss. And a second pitch strike into Dom Decker, who is 2 for 3. And that's what Ole Miss can do. 20th in the country in home runs. Now 105 on the season for the Rebels. Remember, this is a best of 3 and a huge advantage when you get game number 1. Last season, 6 of the 8 Game 1 winners in the Super Regional round advanced to Omaha. Well, L.J. Cormier doesn't look like a freshman on the mound. He has a low heart rate no matter what's happening.
Well, he did what you're supposed to do. Come out of the pen, try to get ahead, and Colin Reuter just guessed right.
Breaking ball stays up, full count. Into center, here comes Carter. And that'll close the inning. Auburn was ball 4, just a fraction of an inch away from getting out of the 6th inning with 3 straight strikeouts. Instead, a 2-out walk to Randall, and then Colin Reuter Reedley Groots freshman L.J. Cormier with a 2-run home run to straightaway center. And the road team Rebels lead 6-2.
to Geico.
Tom Hart with Todd Walker. It's a 4-run lead for Ole Miss, and Todd, in the postseason, every inch can make a difference.
Yeah, what a difference. They talk about this baseball game being a game of inches. Braden Randall on a 3-2 count takes that pitch, and because of that, gets the walk, forces Auburn to change pitchers. L.J. Cormier comes in. First pitch to Colin Reuter, goes out dead center. 2 runs with 2 outs. And that's where we're at, 6-2 Ole Miss.
And Brandon McCrane leads off the inning. Takes a strike. Interesting bullpen management for Mike Bianco, because he had their closer getting loose in the bullpen. And when I say closer, he's a guy that can give you a lot of innings. In the dirt that time, Walker hooks through 5 1/3 in game 1 of the regional against Arizona State. But now that it's a 4-run lead, you have an opportunity, Todd, to hold on to hooks for a little bit if you need him in game 2, because he's not necessarily going to be a 1-inning guy, even though he's versatile.
Yeah, and Hudson Calhoun is no slouch either. I mean,
and that was banged up the middle by Brandon McCrane for a leadoff single, his first hit tonight.
Now the offenses are starting to come alive. Brandon McCrane leading off here. 6th inning.
Calhoun got the win in game 1 against Arizona State, that 14-inning game. He went 3 2/3 and only allowed 1 hit. Then he got the save against Nebraska in game number 2. Here's Ballou, who is 1 for 2 tonight. Fourth time Auburn has put the leadoff man on tonight. 2 of the previous 3 have come around to score. Now 2-0. And he missed. Oh, caught the corner with the fastball. Pardon me, 2-1.
It's only Cade Ballou's 27th start of the year, so he's been in there sporadically. Had a big regional last weekend. 6 for 16 with 3 home runs, or last week. He played 5 games. Good sequence there by Hudson Calhoun, working off that fastball up underneath with the slider. Same location. Cade Ballou thought it was the same pitch.
And swing and a miss on the fastball. Back-to-back fastballs to take care of Ballou. DC and Orlando as the UFL playoffs get started. That's Sunday at 3 o'clock. You can watch it on ABC and stream the game live on the ESPN app. McCrane 18 for 22 on the bases this year, sharing a laugh with Will Furness. Bristol Carter's got a hit in the 9-hole tonight. He might be thinking bunt the way he peeked down at third. Nope. How often, right before that pitch, Carter looked down at Judd Udemark out at third base. How often as a hitter are you taking sneak peeks at the fielder?
Even looking at him will bring him in, right? Because if he sees you and you make eye contact, he's going to think you're bunting, and it creates that angle on the left side. So I always try to make it a point as a left-handed hitter to look down there and put that in his mind that I might bunt.
He leads Auburn in sacrifices, shows there, and takes a strike. And he's also got elite speed, so he can bunt for a hit too. Fastball up 2-1.
Yeah, Judd Udemark doesn't seem too worried that if he bunts down the third base line, he'd be able to throw him out. He's back about halfway on the dirt, and Bristol can fly.
So can McCrane, the runner at first. To the left side, chance for two again. 6-4, not in time. Well, they get the lead runner, McCrane, and there's two down now with the lineup turning over, getting back to Mason McCrane.
Nice transfer by Pano. The only thing Dom Decker could have done was come across the bag, met the baseball, take away a little bit of time. Instead, he stays back, pulls away from it, and the runner's able to beat the throw. But in order to do that as a second baseman, you've got to be sure that you're going to get a ball you can handle when you come across the bag, because any throw away from you, it's going to throw you off balance and possibly end up in right field.
So Brother retired at second. Here's Mason McCrane with Carter aboard. Hunter Elliott with the elite pickoff move is out of the game. There's 2 outs in the inning. The leadoff man on. And a speedster over at first base. When does Carter take off?
As soon as he feels like he's going to get an off speed, which may create fastballs for Mason McCrane, who's a home run threat.
And there he goes. The throw is not in time. And a stolen base for Bristol Carter.
So Tom, he's going to go right now. And if you're Pano, you hold the tag down and you get him out, because he slid past the bag. That's what you're taught as an infielder, is just to hold the tag throughout the slide. Bristol Carter's so fast, he almost ended up in left field. Watch him. Takes off, beats the throw, slides off the bag, but he doesn't hold the tag on him. And Bristol Carter gets second base.
McCrane would love to see a fastball. He's hitting .333 against fastballs of 94 plus. One. Laced to left field. That is a fair ball and will rattle in the corner. Carter floats home. It's an RBI double for Mason McCrane, who takes a fastball the other way.
Duke just hit. I mean, that is picture perfect. I told you how quickly he's picking up the baseball. Well, this is right down the middle until the last second when it tails on the outside corner. Mason McCrane waits on it and just hits a missile down the left center, or left field gap line. Scores the third run for Auburn. Mason McCrane at second base. Still the 2 outs.
He's stealing all of your dance moves, Todd.
Yeah, that was me.
Or double of the tournament, tied for most of anybody in the field. There's an issue with Austin Foley's pitch comm, so they'll take a moment and also visit Hudson Calhoun. Bill Mangrum, the pitching coach for Ole Miss. Now you start thinking about Walker Hooks.
Yeah, you don't want him to get in too much trouble where it's a high-intensity battle for Walker Hooks or anybody else that comes out of that bullpen. You want to give him a little cushion. So you're right. Now might be the time when you start to think you might be able to try to get through one more out. But I would think it's one more hitter if he doesn't get Eric Guevara here.
Yeah, because if you don't get Guevara, then it's the best hitter in the postseason, Chase Fralick. Guevara is 1 for 2. Baker's dozen home runs for the Auburn third baseman. You have to go all the way back to February 21st for the largest comeback this season for Auburn. That's when they trailed Florida State 4-0 after the opening inning and fought back to win that game 8-5. Butch Thompson talked about the struggles that Auburn had winning its regional after dropping game 1. Said it was the toughest but most rewarding regional that they'd played, and said his team learned a lot from it. Ole Miss hasn't lost this season when leading by 3+, but they've been in similar situations in supers over the year and have been less than perfect.
That would have been the unusual situation where you give him the 3-0 green light, because the alternative is he's not going to split the plate on Eric Guevara and let him drive in this 4th run. The matchup now is Walker Hooks versus the on-deck lefty-on-lefty Chase Fralick. And they prefer that than just split the plate here on a hitter's count to Eric Guevara.
Catches the edge, 3-2. And he gets him swinging. Calhoun's 3rd strikeout. That was a massive one as Auburn leaves a runner on again.
2 cutters in a row from Hudson Calhoun to get out of trouble. 2 perfect pitches, one elevated and one away from the barrel. Eric Guevara trying to do a little too much. Gets to the left side early and not able to stay back. Calhoun and the Rebs off the field.
86 miles from Auburn was the Troy Super Regional, and a guy by the name of Jabe Boroff, or should I say Jabe Ruth?
Or at Jabetown, USA. Welcome aboard.
Grand Slam. Tom, have you noticed the theme between all these highlights? Grand Slams in all 3 regionals, except in Auburn so far.
Well, Chris, we got plenty of time. By the way, that Grand Slam had 6,426 on their feet. That shattered the record for a Troy home game. They set it last month against Alabama, fewer than, just a shade under 4,000 for a midweek game when Roll Tide rolled in there. And Bama, by the way, will start its Super Regional tomorrow. That's 3 in the Yellowhammer State. Only the 4th time in history that there have been 3 from the same state hosting Supers. Cormier to curveball, and that just missed John Brammer's strike zone, 1-1. Now 1-2. Judd Utermark with a 2-run home run on a breaking ball last time up to balance out his first 2 at-bats that ended in strikeouts. Golly, this dude's got some juice, huh?
Yeah,
Go into the parking
let's
garage.
see how much juice he does have. Look how high. 43-degree launch angle. Again, the record in the StatCast there is 49 in the big leagues. 49 degrees. And he creates some angle with that lift and separate swing. And that 6'5", 250 frame.
He's creeping up on Tim Elko's single season home run mark. That was a national championship season. And Udemark goes down looking. That's his third K tonight.
Perfect spot for L.J. Cormier. Just a change up on the outside corner, kind of like his dad used to do it. He's happy about that.
Finally a sigh of relief for the family.
Yeah, look at this positioning right here, just right on the outside corner.
Wife Jamie, son Wilkes. The nerves of a mom with your son on the mound in the spotlight in a super regional.
Yeah, it's a tough one there. You got to be perfect every pitch.
Sky high to right field. Carter settles underneath it. 2 down. And Cormier is now retired 3 in a row after that Colin Reuter ambush.
Well, so far so good in this inning for L.J. Cormier. Like you mentioned, he came in the game through 1 pitch. Colin Reuter took it deep center. But since then, settled down, retired 3 in a row.
Ole Miss 4 for 9 with 2 outs tonight. They entered today 289th out of 308 Division I teams in 2-out hitting. Just 225 as a squad. Now 2-0. I was talking with Mike Bianco before the game. We were chatting behind the cage of batting practice about trends and numbers in college baseball. It is such a small sample size, especially relative to 162 in the big leagues. It's really about what you've done lately. And here's Rembert, and it's a 1-2-3 inning worked by L.J. Cormier. Time to stretch on the Plains. Home team down 3. The NCAA Baseball Super Regionals are presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Another power display by Ole Miss. 20th best home run hitting team in the country's hit a pair tonight. And a fashionable night on the Plains, especially for the visiting team. It's a 6-3 lead for the Rebels. Tom Hart with Todd Walker. Did you eat your hot dog already?
No, put it aside.
Save it for later?
Yeah, Not a big hot dog guy, you?
No. We have Plainsman Park record in the building tonight. A lot of hot dogs sold. 10,627. Breaking last weekend's record of 82-28. And it's almost 2,000 more people they've jammed into this ballpark. What a fantastic job Athletic Director John Cohen has done making this ballpark a centerpiece of this campus and getting people out here. It's a huge football recruiting weekend for Alex Golish, the first-year football coach here at Auburn, and he ducked in for a couple of innings before going back to his official visits. Here's Chase Freilich. 2-0.
First catcher in Auburn history to be up for the Buster Posey Award, Catcher of the Year, along with John Embry from Florida Gulf Coast, Carson Tenney over at Texas, Von Lackey the year he had at Georgia Tech, and Daniel Jackson looking to be the third Triple Crown winner in the SEC from Georgia.
Yeah, previous two both came from Mississippi State. They have got them tucked into every nook and cranny of this ballpark, Todd.
Yeah.
What do you win if you knock that pyramid over?
With the baseball from home plate?
Yeah.
1 run. That'd be pretty impressive.
They'll put the shift on with 2 strikes on Freilich. Kind of feels like a carnival game, right? Knock over the beer cans, win a stuffed animal.
You're as likely to do that as you probably are to win a carnival game, that's for sure. Yeah, I've taken that baseball before and tried to hit those bowling pins over.
How's that dude gonna? He's gonna need a ladder.
Oh, he's nervous.
His beer cup Jenga.
That's right, he got it.
It's a lot eliminated.
It's not going to take a lot to get that thing knocked over.
Freilich fouls off a fastball. And he sends this one deep into the Auburn night, but Federico's got room. Wow. Just got under it a little too much, and Freilich's had a couple of loud outs tonight, including his sac fly.
103 off the bat. I think if he hits that in the first inning, it goes with the sun still out.
Yeah.
As the sun goes down, air's a little more dense, and he hit it to the deepest part of the ballpark. And he's got a lot of pop, but just not enough.
So here's Chris Rembert. If you get another quiet inning for Calhoun, you only need 2 from Hooks. It's one of the best closers in the country, and then you could have him again for another outing this weekend. So this 7th is huge from an Ole Miss bullpen perspective. Everybody they threw out there last weekend threw really well.
Yeah, I was just going to say, only 4 earned runs in 17 innings with 5 guys. Hooks, Calhoun, Waters, Robertson, and Libbert.
That was a 2.12 ERA for the bullpen. 2 down. It wasn't an easy road for Ole Miss, although the 3-0 run suggests otherwise. They blew a late 3-run lead against Arizona State in the first game of the regional before walking it off in the bottom of the 14th at Haymarket Park in Lincoln.
So what's kind of crazy about this Auburn team, they're all coming back. This guy, Ethan Bingham's a freshman. Mason McCrane at the top of this order is a freshman. His brother Brandon, redshirt freshman. Chase Freilich, the catcher's a sophomore. Just remember, it's a draft eligible sophomore. He may be gone. Bub Terrell's a sophomore. I mean, then on the mound, the four horsemen, all most likely to come back. It's just an Auburn team that's still young.
They're in great position for next season, but they're not done this year. Breaking ball misses away to Bingham. To short, Pano gobbles it up. 1-2-3 inning worked by Hudson Calhoun. First 1-2-3 since the first. Take a look at our Capital One rewarding performance. Ole Miss with a couple of home runs tonight, including this monster shot from Judd Utermark.
Career best, 51 home runs at Ole Miss. That's a program record. 43 degrees up in the air, 113 miles off the bat. Judd Utermark, a lot of power back in that fifth inning after the leadoff single by Dom Decker. Two-run homer put Ole Miss 4-1 at that point, and they still hold the lead at 6-3.
So to the eighth we go. And Hayden Federico to lead things off. Bingham's got it. This is an Auburn staff which came in sixth in the country in ERA at 3.62. They've allowed 3 runs or more, though, in 5 of 6 games in this year's NCAA tournament. Butch Thompson's team allowed a total of 3 runs in 3 games in their run in Hoover at the SEC tournament. Here's Owen Pano, who is 1 for 3. And a first pitch strike to Pano.
And it just calms you down, too. Even if you don't have the intent to bunt, you track the ball all the way in. And of course, when you show up, early in season of any baseball season, that's what you're doing. It's not really swinging, but just tracking baseballs. And what Owen Pano was doing right there. He brought Eric Guevara in from third, but Eric Guevara is not buying that he's going to bunt. He's way back on the dirt now.
It's the final game of day 1 of the Super Regionals as Pano strikes out. Around here, they call it the Dixie Crystal Sugar scoreboard. And earlier today, West Virginia started with a 12-2 whitewashing of Cal Poly. Man, that place was rocking again in Morgantown. USC came from behind to beat North Carolina 9-5, and then Troy took care of Little Rock in the same 12-2 score that WVU had.
USC 279 as a team offensively, scored 59 runs in 5 games in that College Station regional, and then pinned another 9 today. On North Carolina, the pitching staff's pretty good too.
Well, what do they say? You're allowed to get better, right? And we saw a record number of home runs last week in regional action. Offenses are really getting turned up here in the postseason.
Well, and that's what Butch Thompson said. We're better this week than we were last week, having to go through what they did in the regional, having to win 5 games, come from behind after losing the very first one.
But the Achilles heel for Ole Miss is still there. They have struck out 58 times in 4 games this postseason. Balanced out tonight thanks to a pair of 2-run home runs. That one gets all the way back to the screen. Ball and a strike to Austin Foley, who's reached base safely in 15 consecutive games. And Foley top spins this one to left field. Terrell going to play it in the corner off of his glove. Has to course correct, and Foley will go into second with a 2-out double. His second double of the night. Man, that ball got to him in a hurry. Came off the bat at 104.
And top spin, like you mentioned. So that's a tough read. Bob Terrell on the run. And it's a changeup, just left up. Austin Foley rips the top half of the baseball. It goes down, and Bob Terrell kind of overran it. And I bet that ball was knuckling as it came to him. I mean, that ball's moving in a lot of different directions. Bob Terrell not able to catch it.
Ole Miss 5 for 11 with 2 outs tonight. They're one of the worst in the country with 2 outs during the regular season. Rembert, beautiful play deep in the grass. And Auburn gets off the field. Tigers need to find some offense, down 3 with 6 outs left.
Exclusively on ESPN, 40-plus NCAA championships. Confetti rains. Nets are cut. Joy erupts. Hardware is hoisted. History happens here on ESPN, home of NCAA championships.
Ole Miss has scored all 6 runs, including a pair of home runs with runners on base tonight, but Auburn has hit into a pair of double plays with runners on. Getting late on the Plains, and it's the bottom half of the order, starting with Bub Terrell. Terrell is 1 for 2 tonight with a walk, and he looks at a fastball outside 1-0.
That's a good sign. Bub Terrell laying off that pitch right there. Looks like a strike falls out of the zone. He gets ahead 2-0. And we talked to Gabe Gross about this guy. I mean, when he's loading right and he's loose, he's had some really good stretches, but a lot of times he doesn't trust it. He gets tight, tries to be too quick. Two for 21 last week in the regional with 10 strikeouts for Bub Terrell, but he's got a lot of power.
To Terrell, and it's a 4-pitch walk. Mike Bianco has made a change in the outfield. Brett Mosley has entered the game in center field, and they've moved Federico to left, and that'll take Braden Randall, a shortstop by trade, out of the game. And they're going to go to hooks right here. That'll be the end of the line for Calhoun after a 4-pitch walk. They got just about everything they could out of Hudson Calhoun, and now Mike Bianco's bullpen is going to look to continue its sensational run by going to this dude, and he is a dude. Ole Miss's bullpen will try to keep this run going. They go to one of the best closers in the game with nobody out in the 8th. Welcome back to the NCAA Super Regionals presented by Capital One. 6-3 lead for Ole Miss, and the Rebels trying to protect this lead. Go to Walker Hooks out of the pen.
Really good last week in the regional, 5 1/3, only 3 hits, 4 strikeouts, 6'4", 265-pound Walker Hooks. Equally good against the right-handed hitters and left-handers, about 190 against for both. 90 to 93 on the fastball slider. Will throw a ton of changeups, especially to right-handers, about 50% of the time, but he also gets about 50% swing and miss. Led the SEC in conference play in ERA and whip, second in walks allowed, so he's real accurate. Only 11 walks and 52 2/3.
Only made 1 appearance in the Lincoln Regional. That's because he went 5 1/3 against Arizona State in that 14-inning game. And McCrane jumps on the first, pops it up down the right field line. Who wants it? And they overrun it. Decker couldn't get there. And they missed an opportunity over in no man's land in foul territory.
Will Furnace had no chance. He's running back toward the wall, and that ball is spinning back toward the field of play, so he's out. The setup, playing as deep as he was going to have a tough time. So Decker was the only one that had a shot, and it's going to be moving back toward him. He's trying to see if Will's going to get in the way. You saw him take a peek down, and that ball is just spinning big time. That's a tough play to make. He kept his feet moving, But again, you've got to kind of anticipate that ball coming down, and it was too much.
We're going to charge Decker with his 5th error of the season, and Gabe Gross will take an opportunity here. They use an offensive timeout and get everybody together. You mentioned some of the season numbers for Hooks. 11th in the country in ERA, 20th in batting average against, and 5th in the country in chase rate. What does Hooks have in his arsenal that is so tempting that guys chase so much?
The changeup looks like the fastball. So the arm action is the same, the delivery is the same. A lot of times I look at facial expressions on pitchers.
Really?
If they kind of grunted, that told me they were going to try to get some more behind their fastball. If their face was relaxed, that was an off-speed pitch. But Walker Hooks stays the same through the fastball and the changeup. And so at that point, you're just basically guessing based on what pitch count it is.
He's got a mid-90s fastball. He's gotten up to 95 this season. And opponents hitting just a $137 against that changeup. There's the fastball, and it catches the edge for a strike. O2 will wait. They send a lob over to first base. Remember, Terrell was almost picked off earlier this game by Hunter Elliott.
And he's a big guy out there, too. It always made me a little jumpy when there was a taller, bigger pitcher on the mound because they just look like they're going to bring a fastball every time. And it made you vulnerable to the changeup.
Ripped into the leather of Pano. 1 down.
That's the part of this game that's just unfair. They don't even out. You hit way more balls right at people than you'll ever get cheap hits. Brandon McCrane squares this one up.
That is spoken like a hitter.
But right at the shortstop, Pano. And good job by Bub Terrell not trying to get too much at first and get doubled off.
So McCrane shares the scouting report with Caden Ballou. You mentioned Hook's size, 6'4", 265. Lefties see a lot more sliders than righties, and he starts them off with a swing and a miss on that slider. .46% of his pitches to lefties are sliders.
Because left-handers just don't throw changeups to left-handed hitters.
Right.
Because you can sit on that fastball, and when it's in on you, even though it's 10 or 15 miles an hour slower, a left-hander can react to that. Like, I'm looking fastball, he throws the change, I can see it out of his hand a lot better. Lefty on lefty matchup.
Here's the 0-2 to Ballou. Lefty's hitting 167 against Walker Hooks' slider.
And Walker will drop changeups on left-handed hitters about 24% of the time, but you got to be in a special moment where you think the hitter's looking dead red, but that slider, to your point, works a lot better lefty on lefty.
There it goes. Swing and a miss for strike 3 on Ballou.
Okay, Ballou had fished at a couple of sliders that went low and in, and that's a third one. Out over the plate, just drops below the barrel. That's a changeup right there, but put in a good spot after 2 sliders low and in. Kay Ballou looks back at him. Like, what was that?
Can't believe you threw me a changeup.
Yeah, he's surprised.
Bristol Carter is 1 for 3 tonight. He has scored 2 runs for Auburn.
That's the rally caps. It's a big at bat in this game. Bristol Carter gets on base. Now they turn the lineup over to Mason McCrane. With all the home runs that he hit, he could tie this game up in a hurry.
Takes a fastball for strike 2. If Auburn can make some noise and make Hooks work in a best-of-3 series, it could make the difference of seeing Hooks later in the weekend or not. Run around the move, swing and a miss, and Hooks dispatches Carter on 3 pitches. We go to the 9th. Ole Miss can taste it, up 6-3. Here are the probable starters for Game 2. Hard-throwing Taylor Rabe, we expect will get the ball for Ole Miss tomorrow night and his 10th start. He's 5-3 on the year. And Alex Petrovic is expected to be the starter for Auburn. And if the score holds, that will be a must-win game for the hometown Tigers to stay alive.
And a great pitching matchup. Look at that, 10 wins for Alex Petrovic. He's been so consistent for Auburn this year. Pitched 6 last week in the regional, 6 strikeouts, the 2 earned runs. And on the other side, Taylor Rabe, 6 innings, 9 strikeouts in his start last week in the regional.
Colin Reuter, senior from Olive Branch, Mississippi, leads off the 9th for Ole Miss. Looking for a little breathing room with the top of the order due up for Auburn in the home half of the 9th. So who's got the advantage with the pitching matchup tomorrow night?
They're both good. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. You would think that the Auburn bats might light up a little bit, but that's what makes this series great. We thought that the same with tonight. 2 great pitchers.
Six runs on 9 hits for the Ole Miss offense tonight. Home runs in the 5th and the 6th to take control. And a curveball in there for strike 3. So for the latest news, insight, and in-depth analysis from the Super Regionals, you can visit ncaa.com.
You never really know unless you're in the box, but that tight spin on that curveball for L.J. Cormier, Colin Reuter had no chance. L.J. Cormier he hangs it, but Colin Reuter couldn't even read the spin on that thing. Drops in the zone. 2,600 spin rate on that curveball.
Decker into shallow left center, and McCrane has it, 2 down. LJ Cormier kind of feels like an old school throwback with that 12-6 curveball. How does that match up with Judd Utermark?
Well, Judd Utermark's got that path, that plane of that swing coming up at that baseball as that baseball's coming down. So there's only really one spot that he can make solid contact. That's why they tell you as a hitter, you want to stay on the plane as long as possible. But Judd Utermark has that uppercut swing, so you're going to get a lot of swing and misses and some foul balls.
He's been all or nothing tonight. A monster 2-run home run, but 3 strikeouts. 1 swinging and 2 looking. Back-to-back curveballs.
He was on that one. He was just late.
All right, so what does Cormier come with here? After
Now
back-to-back
a fastball above the belt, right? Because he's looking curveball out of LJ Cormier's hand. That curveball goes straight up in the air. The fastball high would look like the same pitch, and he's got him in swing mode.
Little tapper to the left side. Cormier. Too late. And a little dribbler, a 40-foot single for Judd Utermark.
That's what separates Judd Utermark a little bit. I mean, he's 6'5", 250, whatever he is, big linebacker, but he can run. 21 stolen bases in his career at Ole Miss. And once he hit that, it wasn't going to be much of a shot. That's a fastball, misses the location. Judd Utermark just gets a piece of it, but beats it out. And maybe they do even out. We've seen a line drive it short, now a little dink base hit.
I'm glad you could admit that.
Different guys, though.
Here's Furness. Reached on an error in the 5th.
That's a good eye by Will Furness. That looked like the fastball, but the changeup drops at 80 miles an hour low, and he saw that all the way in. So what does LJ Cormier do? He throws the same pitch, just a little higher. And Will Furness takes the bait. Now 1-2. He's got him set up for the fastball middle in.
Swing and a miss for Furness. He thought he got a piece of it, but they disagree. 2 Ks here in the 9th. And Auburn down to its last 3, trailing by 3 as we go to the bottom of the 9th and the top of the order due up. Ole Miss is trying to stay perfect when leading by 3+ runs this season, and this would be a high leverage win for the Rebels, taking a 1-0 lead in a best-of-3. On the other side, Auburn is homered in 10 consecutive games. The last time without a home run was May 14th against Georgia. And good luck getting one against Hooks, who's only allowed 2 all season. Mason McCrane has a couple of hits. He's the leadoff man for Auburn. Top of the order due up, and Walker Hooks delivers a first pitch strike. And this ball's rocketed deep right field, and McCrane gives Auburn life in the ninth.
That's what I said. One hitter too late. Bristol Carter strikes out to end the 8th. Mason McCrane starts off the 9th and just crushes the lefty-lefty matchup. Only the 3rd home run given up this year by Walker Hooks. That changeup at 85 miles an hour. And Mason hammered it.
And a first pitch breaking ball into Eric Guevara. Now 11 consecutive games with a home run for Auburn. Guevara was trying to bunt his way on, and he pulled back 1-1.
Not a bad idea. Puts it in Judd Udemark's thoughts as a third baseman that he might bunt, brings him in a little bit.
Huge at-bat for Guevara, given who's waiting on deck.
3 of the next 4 hitters, or sorry, the next hitter on deck is Chase Fralick, the left-hander. And we talked about how hot he has been. 6 home runs in the last 5 games of the regional.
Home run for McCrane, just his 8th of the year. And he's put a spark in his building late. Guevara golfs this one to right center. 1 down. Well, now that changes how how Walker Hooks can attack Chase Fralick.
No doubt.
On.
And the other way around. Chase Fralick now has a different thought process. If Eric Guevara is at first base, for example, Will Furnace has to hold him out, and that opens up some spots on the right side. But instead, with nobody on, you still need 2 runs. So for Chase Fralick, you know, your thought process is get on base first rather than just try to pop one out of the park.
Fralick put a charge into one last time up. Came up short. He is 0 for 3 tonight with a sac fly. In perspective, his 2 5-game home run streaks this year hadn't been done in the big league since Nelson Cruz in 2015.
It's too hard for me lefty on lefty to look fastball middle in and be able to pull it, but also sit on a slider like that and look the other way. So you have to pick one or the other if you're a lefty on lefty, a left-handed matchup.
Pulled foul. If there's anywhere Fralick has struggled this season, it's been against lefties. 130 points lower in the batting average and 400 points lower in the OPS against left-handed pitching versus right.
Well, you know, with the home run streak he's on, Walker Hook's a little afraid to throw the fastball middle in, so the only other option is that slider away.
Well, Fralick does a great job using the opposite field. And Federico's playing nearly in the gap in left. In fact, he's moving closer to the gap now. Hit him. And Auburn will bring the tying run to the plate in the 9th inning.
And that shows you that Walker Hooks was thinking the same thing. If I'm going to throw a fastball in, I've got to get it in there because I don't want to give up a home run to Chase Fralick. And so because of that, he lets it go a little early, and he hits Chase Fralick and brings the tying run to the plate.
And now Chris Rembert waiting. Rembert not the home run threat that Fralick was. And he takes one up, 1-0.
But a threat nonetheless. Now an 18-game hit streak on fire with runners on base.
And we'll get a visit to the mound. Joe Mangrum came sprinting out of the first base dugout. This place is absolutely rocking. It's not just that you're on the road and it's a sold-out crowd. It is what's on the line in a best of 3.
This is Walker Hook's game, win or lose. Chris Rembert, although only 4 home runs this year, hit 10 last year. Hit 344 as a freshman.
Record crowd in the building tonight. And those outside the building watching for the parking garage. One and one. So what's Rembert looking for?
All off speed, and that's what he's going to get from Walker Hooks. Now that changeup's in play with the right-handed hitter. 50% whiff rate on the changeup to right-handed hitters. He uses a ton of them.
And he rockets it to right field. Becerra makes the grab, 2 down.
Right at Becerra in right field. And that could have changed the game, but now Ole Miss 1 out away.
Here's the freshman, Ethan Bingaman. He had a massive regional, but is 0 for 4 tonight. "15 home runs in the season. He came in with an OPS of 1020. Nothing in 2. Swing and a miss, and Hooks closes the door. Wait a second. Was that tip? And Mike Bianco says we got it. The first base umpire, David Savage, may overrule John Brammer. Bingaman never left the batter's box.
Yeah, that tells you all you need to know. He knew he fouled it off, but he also knows what he's getting. So, see if he can catch it. Slider down and in. And Bingaman looks back at the umpire as if he fouled it off.
And he sends it to right field. Besette's got it. Took one more pitch. But Ole Miss eventually takes game number 1, 6-4. And the Rebels are 1 win away from their first trip to Omaha since they won it all in 22.
Bullet to right, and that's how this game ends. Ole Miss wins this one 6-4 on 10 hits. Pretty clean game defensively. A lot of good pitching in this one, and like you mentioned, Reb's going to sleep good tonight.
Rebs start Supers 1-0 for the 6th time in program history. They've advanced to Omaha once after starting 1-0. That was when they won it all in 2022. Day number 1 is wrapped up, and we'll have a couple of 4 different game 2s tomorrow. The rest of the bracket starts with their game number 1s tomorrow, beginning with Georgia and Mississippi State on ESPN at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 Central. What a thriller tonight. Walker Hooks and the Ole Miss bullpen closed the door on the Auburn Tigers in front of a sellout crowd tonight. And our final score, Ole Miss over Auburn 6-4. For Todd Walker, I'm Tom Hart. Fantastic night at the ballpark. It's time for SportsCenter. Nicole Briscoe and Michael Eaves. Rebels win this one and take game number 1.